Hello, and welcome to Blackfeather Guild. Before we go in and say hi to the cast and get started with the show, I wanted to talk very briefly about viewer actions and a little bit about sponsors. So, first off, there's a number of ways that you can actually actively participate in the show through viewer actions. One of the easiest ways to do so is through retweeting the game tweet. You should see that somewhere in chat if it's not in there already. But you just click on that link and hit retweet, and for every 5 retweets that we get on that, it will add a bonus to the cast pool and the game master pool. Now, in most cases, that's going to be an extra d6 that they can add on to any roll. Basically, a great way to use that is if a player is almost meeting a DC, but they're just not quite there, they can grab one of those d6s from the cast pool, roll that, and then add that to their roll. Basically, is how that works. Same with the GM. So that's one of the easiest ways that you can participate that way. Another way is through guild coins. That's our Twitch channel points. If you look at the rainbow colored icon, it should have the Black Feather Guild crest on it. It should be right below your Twitch chat box. If you click on that, it'll show you all the different things that you can get with those. The biggest one being plot points. Now, plot points, you can see an example right over here. They all work pretty much the same way. It's just a matter of how big of an impact they have. So for the example, when we've got 2 plot points, the player of your choice gets something moderately helpful or unhelpful. Enter any suggestions for the GM into chat, or you can have the GM come up with something entirely on their own. So just choose if you want it to be helpful or unhelpful to the party, and that's kind of how you can use them. You can throw in your own suggestions as well. How those work: 1 plot point is something trivially helpful or unhelpful. 2 is moderately, 3 is very, and 4 is very to the entire party. So if you want to do something to help the entire party or really throw a monkey wrench in their plans, 4 plot points will do that. So that's guild coins. And then finally, we've got donations. So if you want to help out with keeping the lights on in the place, so to speak, there's a number of ways that you can financially contribute. One of those being coffee.com/Raven or raven.rocks. You can see both of those examples down there at the bottom. Those are the addresses to do direct donations. You can also do Twitch subscriptions or bits. Those work the same way. And then finally, Patreon. We've got a Patreon, which you should see in chat here any second if it's not there already. And our Bard tier patrons and higher get credits towards viewer actions every month that they can use on any show that they would like. You just have to let us know in chat how you want to spend those, and then we'll hand those out. So some very cool stuff. Before we hop over to see the cast, one last thing to mention is a couple things on this chart here. We've already covered the D6 and the plot points, but the triple crits, what that means is you can gift auto critical successes. And you can, it's triple because you get 3. You can divvy those out however you'd like. You can do 2 to the cast, 1 to the game master, all of them to the game master, however you want to do it. So they work much like the D6s. The cast members just grab that when they're available and they really need them and use them. So it's pretty cool. And then finally, the last one, introduce an ally or enemy NPC. Just give us a brief description of what you want this character to look like, kind of their character concept and a name, and let us know if you want it to be an enemy or an ally to the party, and the GM will basically take that and run with it. So really cool ways that you can participate. Lastly, I just want to take a quick moment to mention our sponsors. If you look at the logos down below, that's who's sponsoring this episode, and we'll talk a little bit about that before we introduce everybody as well on the next scene. So yeah, check all this stuff out and thank them for supporting us, and thank you for being here and watching. Let's go say hi to the cast.
All right, good morning, everyone. We are so excited to be back with a full cast this time. So thank you for that introduction, Raven. Now, before we do get into everything, we would like to take a moment to thank our wonderful sponsors. Firstly, Grinding Coffee Company and Fundamental RPG. Make sure that you do check out grindingcoffee.co and use the code RAVEN. That is RAVVYN for 15% off your order. Now, I'd like to introduce you again to our wonderful cast because it's been a little while. So, let's start with where are you all placed? Actually, Akino, how about you go first today? Could you tell us a bit about yourself and your character?
Well, I'm a Kinolax. You can find me here mostly playing TTRPG games because it's mostly what I do. And I'm tonight. Oh, sorry for you. That mostly will be today, not tonight. It's my tonight. I'm playing Glenn. Glenn is sort of man from another fairy tale because I've conceived this character as sort of heavy hitter, but it turned out people using magic are the heavy hitters of the group. So Glenn is his only job is taking heavy hits.
And then, I love that you're like, I'm the bullet sponge of this group. Kat, how about you introduce yourself and Winter to the group?
Hi, I'm Kat. You can find me mostly here. I'm playing a character called Winter, who goes by they and them. Is probably in their early 20s. And if you ask for an ID, yeah, I'm 21. And they are a spooky character who has powers of some sort that they can't quite get a sense of just yet.
Excellent. All right, Eshi, what about Ven? And you, for that matter.
Everybody only cares about Ven. I'm Eshi. You can find me here now or here Friday now, and nowhere else. I'm playing Ven. Also goes by they them. They are a expert in dubious fields. And the primary reason we need someone like Glenn around to take bullets, as evidenced from what happens when the rest of us take bullets.
All right. So, Pa, how about you tell us about Ryan and yourself?
Well, I'm Par, and I'm playing Ryan, your resident spell slinger who does not need protection because I got spells, shield spells, protect myself. He's a resident master of magic and overall truly the ace of this group.
I love how humble he is.
He is master of magic.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Yeah, I'm polished. I play the rest of the universe. Yeah, when I'm not here, which I am obviously today and tomorrow at the same time, playing in Stars Without Numbers, you can find me on my own channel. But as for now, the camera hovers over a forest that is covered in a strange amount of moss, almost as if, a lunchbox that has been left for far too long and mold has completely taken over. In the background, music starts to build, and it is indeed the all familiar theme song to Where Things Go South. And as the song begins to build up a little bit more, we zoom in first on Ryan. Ryan, what is your character's action shot?
Action shot this time is Ryan simply spreads some dust through the air and then takes off flying.
Fantastic. There's a bit of a lull in the intro music in our theme song. And Glenn, you're next. What is your action shot for the week?
My action shot for the week will be a little change of pace in comparison to usual stuff. Glenn is just riding the broom in the shop after it's closed, working some mundane job to keep him afloat, considering money, because this business of ours doesn't pay much, except scars and pain.
I want to say that the music seems to hum in agreement. And there's another rise in the tension. Winter, what is your action shot?
So I'm kind of like silhouetted and a little hunched over probably a cigarette that I'm about to finish up, and like I flick the butt towards an owl that's off in the woods behind my house.
Fantastic. And the music again maintains this intensity. Ryan, no, not Ryan, Ven, what is your action shot?
You're muted.
Thank you. Ven is alone in a dimly lit room surrounded by chittering shadows, and they're looking panicked and smacking around at their pockets looking for something to light the room, and then they find a small mag light and flick it on and point it towards the nearest shadow, and it's Antonio the Magnificent, sitting there with a piece of cheese. And then Antonio runs up, and there's a sweet hug, loving moment.
Aww. The music builds up one final time as across the screen we see in letters again, strangely green colored this time, where things go south. And as the music fades away, the all familiar intro sequence comes to an end. What I would like to hear from every one of you is what on earth is going on? What's your character doing? What's happening? Why is the world this strange way? Anyone who wants to go first, you're welcome to. Spotlight is yours.
That's a
Sounds
terrible.
of crickets.
That's a terrible way to pick somebody.
Oh.
Just like I can throw you under the bus, but I was like, maybe someone's really, really keen to go.
I'm the bus. I'm just gonna throw myself under the bus. So Winter's standing with Glenn, surrounded by moss. We're not too far from the center of this ungodly moss hell. I've recently learned where the lair to this monster is. I also know that the monster is not necessarily the moss. And we are kind of I'm kind of at the point where I kind of want to try and enter like the lair of whatever this thing is.
All right. Now, Glenn, you're with Winter. What's your take on what's going on here?
Well, Glenn was sort of flying this mission on autopilot so far. Except some little setbacks, it was pretty straightforward. There's a problem to be solved. By a problem to be solved, we of course mean monster to be killed. That's how Glenn Minds works. And now Glenn has sent away those two mossy beings with huge amount of magical roundup. Glenn sort of fully expected this to be the end. So now, for the first time in this long today, because it all happened in span of a few hours, Glenn actually has to stop and think. And it's the hardest point of this mission. Because Glenn doesn't know the answer. What now?
Excellent. I love that. And I look forward to the moment where Glenn goes, so the hardest part about today was when I had to think. I think that's perfection. So the groups had been separated the last time. And now, Ryan and Ven, I know you spent a while reminiscing about that time when you went to a really strange library together. But beyond that, what the hell is going on here?
Right. Well, I think in the midst of this swirling, almost tornado of pesticide and wind, Ryan is probably actually very calm. He's learned over the years that in situations like this, where there's a reasonable amount of pressure, it's best to keep your thoughts present and focused. So he's probably very, very calm, thinking of what he can do in this situation now that they are here.
All right, Ven.
Well, between the waves of ever-present moss and recent gunshot wound, coupled with the reminiscing about strange times and unfortunate libraries, Ven's kind of salty. They're mad. They're looking for a lighter, and they're not entirely concerned about how far the fire goes.
All right. Well, the Moss was decidedly unimpressed with your antics last time. I believe there was some discussion about who had murdered whose children, and it was decidedly not convinced by your argument that it was indeed at fault, seeking instead to spread, to maintain its hold, and just be left alone. Clearly the group wasn't convinced that leaving Moss alone to take over the world slowly and at its own pace was necessarily the best resolution here. So what I'd like to know is what's your next course of action?
I think I want to try and use my telepathy to try and communicate with Ven and Ryan to see like where they're at, and also to communicate what I know.
All right, so I believe that would be a roll to use some magic, please.
Is that weird?
Yes, it should be a weird unless you have a special move. Ooh, a 7. Whew. The spell does go off. The keeper is struggling to find the right note because they've got the wrong handout open. But what does happen is that the spell does go off. Something's a little strange. It feels as if you're talking through a voice modulator. And as soon as you start shaping the words in your mind, they take form in a voice not your own. And you hope they'll recognize you.
I start with Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Now, Ben and Pa, you do hear this.
Gilroy?
What? Was that you? Did you just speak in my head?
No.
Since when could you do that?
No. Kilroy, is that you?
Who?
It's
Try again.
Is that Antonio?
No.
No, Antonio can't. That I know of. Probably.
It's me. It's Winter.
Oh,
Oh.
Why do you sound like that?
New powers.
Getting tuned in.
Very nice, Winter. Very nice.
Try thinking about the old rabbit ears on old TVs.
Yeah,
Should clear you up a little bit.
I try that.
You know what? It does have an effect, but it's not necessarily an improvement. Your voice just sounds like a different voice. It's still not your own.
I now sound like Gilbert Gottfried.
You know what?
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
If that's the voice you want to, go for it. I'll let you have it.
Okay. Don't worry about it right now. We're kind of under pressure. What's up, Winter?
So I think I found where this thing lives and where it belongs, or like, and it's also, there's something bigger than it. There's a bigger fish, if you will, that's kind of swimming in its pond that I guess is keeping it at bay.
Right. Well, kill it, please.
You're a smoker. You've got a lighter. That Roundup's real flammable.
It's held in place. I feel like perfect time to give it the old whack-a-mole.
You know, I was thinking it'd be really neat if y'all wanted to come over and help out with that. Because it seems like it's the big bad, and I don't know if just me and Glenn can take this on. Are you busy?
Then kind of looks slyly over at Ryan.
Ryan looks back. We're gonna need a few minutes here.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's okay. Take your time.
Yeah, give us a second.
So, we just offered to give you a moment. What do you do with that moment?
Oh, for Ven and Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have a feeling that, Glenn, would I be right in assuming that you're hearing only one end of this conversation? Now, thing is, to you, if Winter speaks out loud, they'll sound perfectly normal. If they don't speak out loud, you'll hear their voice as if it was spoken out loud, but in the same non-Winter voices that the others have been hearing. So Winter, did you speak out loud while you said this, or was it
I feel like
purely
that would have been, that's a question, because it's like, would I be able to do two things at once, or does it help me concentrate to also say things out loud? You know what? I'm going to say it would have been too much concentration to also say these things out loud.
All right, so Glenn, what you hear is effectively as if Winter was a radio with the settings slightly off, as if the reception is a bit poor and therefore their voice is a bit distorted.
Glenn is used to using surplus equipment that have seen its better days, so typical radio, magical radio, always the interference.
Nice. So yeah, so you do hear at least Winter's part of this conversation. Now, whether they fill you in on what else was said is fine, but yeah, I do want to know what. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting what's your character name or what's your actual name. But Ryan and Ven, you're surrounded by a whirlwind of wind and pesticide. The moss is coming for you, decidedly, angrily, and readily. What do you do?
Well, seems we need to assist our friends. And seeing as we can't exactly, walk through or run past, it seems our only option is to go up. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, Ven?
You want to fly over the moss. You
Yes.
have wind powers. You know that it's better than whatever is underneath that. Let's fly away then. I suppose. Do you want me to sustain the barrier while you take us off, or?
Oh, you want me to solo make us both fly? Okay.
Oh,
No, that's doable. That's in my wheelhouse.
you're a
I just-
master of magic.
I just thought drop the whole thing and then we both fly, but if you want me to get cracking,
Well,
let's do this.
do you think we could do it fast enough? It's very angry.
Oh, please. It's just a little temperamental.
I'm a little old. Sometimes it takes me a moment to get off the ground.
Oh, all right. Let me just give it a shot here. All right. So,
Ryan, I know you're preparing to sort of jettison both of you up in the air. Now, then, are you focusing on maintaining the barrier, or are you helping with this new spell?
You know what? Been called out. Got to try to fly.
So you're trying to cast it separately?
Yeah.
All right.
Or helping. We'll help.
Okay. So if you're if you're helping, could you please go ahead and roll for that first? Just making sure I'm looking at the right handout.
No.
No.
I am not cool. I am not cool at all.
Okay.
It's a very uncool day.
Yeah.
I'm sleepy from the
Oops.
vapors. There's a lot of stuff in the air right now, a little lightheaded. It's not great for magic.
So thankfully, there's actually no consequences to failing when you're just helping out. So yeah, Ryan, you do get to go ahead and roll a regular use magic. You do, however, get to throw whatever sass you want in their direction.
Yeah, please do. That was sad.
All right, let's give it a shot here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
9.
That's pretty solid for using magic. So it's going to work in terms that you do get to choose an effect, but there's also going to be a glitch. I'll let you choose both what the effect is and what type of glitch you want for this one.
Okay.
Feel free to levy that fully on me. Earned it with that 3.
So, sorry. I guess the only thing that that fits flight is doing one thing that is beyond human limitations.
Yep.
So I'm going to try to make us both fly. And I feel like Ryan, if he's never flown before, probably only done it by himself. So I think the glitch that makes sense is the effect is of short duration.
All right. So
Catapult.
what
flight.
happens here? It's pretty similar to that. It's less the sort of gracious flight that you've been able to pull off once or twice when you've practiced in the past. This is a bit more like a flying squirrel. You jettison yourselves up in the air, and then it's all about gliding and hopefully not crashing into trees. So you have a very quick moment when you get to choose which direction to go in.
The direction the moss came from.
All right.
Meeting
You
up
do
with,
also,
friends.
yeah, you do also know where they're headed from, so you get an approximate bearing. No matter what, you're going to end up closer. You'll probably not end up right on top of them. But yeah, you find yourselves gliding. You only get as high up as the treetops, and then it's a sort of slow, gradual decline. what I want to know. Firstly, any banter before I pan over to the others?
Before even if it didn't go completely well, Ryan looks down at the moss and says, "Too slow."
All right.
Ven is just kind
Um,
of desperately clinging.
Glenn, what you see as a person of reason and logic and firmly grounded in reality and how real things work. At first, you're not sure what it is. Takes a while to make it out. But what you see is the shape of your two companions slightly modified, as if they've turned into imperfect bats and there's magical membranes between their arms and legs. And it's not the most graceful landing you've ever seen. There's a moment when they came awfully close to getting caught on a branch that was sticking out, but it may rattle them a little, but there doesn't appear to be a full branch to the face type moment. What's your reaction to this peculiar sight?
It's very simple. I have only one image in my mind. With how this day has been going, they will inevitably crash straight into me. So Glenn is bracing for the impact.
You know what? I'll give complete narrative control to the players on this one. Do you crash into your companions? And are your companions crashed into, or do they dodge?
And it's not a bad idea because we are with me and Winter are standing in the safe spot here.
Here's what I think happens.
Mm.
I think Ryan sees that they're going to crash into Glenn, and he looks at Ven and he says, "Right, you first." And let's go, Ven, to crash into Glenn, and then just lands himself.
Then kind of tries to flying squirrel it out, gets the arms and the legs out to break some airflow, and is like, Glenn, sorry.
Glenn is braced, legs standing firm on the ground, torso front, legs a little back, like shooting a big caliber shotgun. And well, let's see what the dice say. Probably.
You know what? In this instance, I'm going to say it's a little bit ungraceful, but it's not to the point where anyone needs to. You're not at risk of harm. You're at risk of, a wounded ego at most. Winter, your companions have gotten here. Seems they actually used that moment for something productive.
I am delighted.
Glenn was also having an eye on the kids. Are they standing on the edge of this zone of, poison?
They are standing. Actually, they're not standing around this circle because they're all back completely under this moss's control by now. Remind me, did you spray the kids or did you spray the moss beings, right?
Only the moss beings, and with so huge amount, there's like a puddle of this stuff on the ground.
Of weed killer, and sort of create a bit of a safe zone where the moss is like, yeah, not going there, mate. They're actually lined up about 1.5 meters, practicing social distancing, so to speak, between each other on a straight line. You reckon they're probably between where you are, but also the entrance that Winter has talked about.
So they're in the way of the entrance?
Yeah, they're just standing there for now, though. Their faces are still vacant, and there's this sort of aloof smile. playing across all of their faces. However, the eyes don't really seem to match the rest of the expression. They're clouded over, and they're clearly very intently focused on you.
Hey, what's that?
It's the entrance.
Mm.
Which way are you pointing, actually?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can't tell
I
if you're
had no
trying to
idea who
distract
is.
the
Ryan,
teenagers, or-
Ryan looks at this line of people looking at them. It just says, "Hey, what's that?" and points off somewhere.
Okay.
Yes, the oldest trick in the book.
Well, it worked on us apparently.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
has more than once.
Love that it
It's-
worked on your entire group of companions.
It is the oldest trick for a reason.
However, the 4 people you were actually trying to fool are completely unimpressed. In fact, you see in their eyes a slight tint of judgment. That's about it.
I love it. I eat it up. I do eat it up, don't
Oh,
I?
you were. Oh.
Hey,
Okay.
What's
so
that old saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I hate this game.
so
So I kind of point in the direction of the entrance, and I say, "That's the entrance over there."
Very interesting.
So,
So we just need to get there.
Just to warn you, with what we've done here, the kids have turned a little aggressive. So, well, we've burned some bridges of diplomacy here, and being nice is no longer an option. But maybe
Right.
we could try being nice to kids still.
Sure.
Or we could
Yeah.
burn some bridges, like bridges,
Like
No,
Jeff
no.
Bridges.
and
Jeff
just
Bridges is a national treasure. We're not burning Jeff Bridges.
fair enough. But we could like make ourselves magically fireproof and light the aspirated roundup that you seem to have generated a substantial amount of.
Right.
Actually, if you make them fireproof too,
Sure, that's
Like don't.
That's
don't
an
hate
option,
the
I
moss,
guess.
just hate the moss.
Right. Well, you know, as a master of magic, even my capabilities say making 4 people fireproof and then creating a large fire around is probably not gonna go too well.
Well,
you don't need magic to create fire. Just the fire barrier. We can make fire in old school ways.
yeah, Winter's a smoker.
I
I don't know what that.
I pull out my lighter.
And also we still have this. And I pull out the I don't remember the word. The agricultural fire thrower.
Oh yeah,
It's a
you do
little bit of
have
flamethrower.
so yes, you do have a like the it's not a full-on flamethrower, but it is sometimes used to clear weeds. Or
Right.
to burn off smaller areas. So it's the equivalent of an agricultural, like welding torch is probably the best way to describe it.
Did we make that into a bomb yet?
You can make that into a bomb.
Yes, I know. Did we, or did we
I don't
not?
think you
Oh no,
have.
not yet. No, it's just
No, I don't
a
think
pretty
we've-
substantial flamethrower.
Oh, for sure.
It's enchanted.
Oh, it is.
Obviously,
Right,
it's enchanted.
Right. Oof. Good enough then. Do we think that the main, I suppose, hive mind for this moss is through that entryway?
Yes, I talked to it.
Oh,
Guessing that didn't go super well by the Stepford crowd over there.
Right. It went very bad.
right.
So
Oh, how'd you feel about that?
You know, I tried like I tried to explain to the Moss or the Moss hive mind that like these teenagers are, or like these young adults here are human people's children and not their children. But the Moss doesn't seem to agree with me.
Hmm. I see. Well, about these children right here, we should actually get them far away from the moss because me and Ven encountered an old woman who freely went into the moss and was absorbed. So, if we don't want that to happen to these kids right here, we actually need to get them out of Dodge.
yeah,
So
she actually. Oh,
we need to subdue them without risking our hazmat suits being damaged. That might be hard.
Oh, right. Yes, me and Ven are kind of exposed.
then fingers the hole in their hazmat suit.
Oh,
The giant shotgun hole.
Yes.
Huh.
Shotguns, not fun.
Well, I think like so I can see that I can see the shotgun hole in the hazmat suit, and I can see that my companion is not. I can't remember who has the shotgun. Is it Ven or is it Ryan?
I think Ven got shot directly.
Okay.
Yeah, like full in the chest.
Hmm.
So I can see that you're still standing, even though that you're somewhat exposed to the moss.
I know some tricks.
Do you think it's safe to take off these hazmat suits?
Oh no, not at all. Like
well,
that's still a very present problem. We're just in kind of a general, mostly safe zone right now, so it's not a top priority. I should find some duct tape. Can I roll preparedness? Do I have any duct
Then-
tape?
Absolutely. Because this is like the most realistic thing you've ever asked for with preparedness.
yes.
Hey, no.
Then how
Almost.
do you do this?
So here's the thing. You had duct tape. You are certain of it. You'd packed it. Problem was, when you were jettisoned straight up into the air and then went gliding like a flying squirrel, you reckon that's when it might have fallen out of your pocket. The hole in the hazmat suit probably helped.
It's on the beach.
Yeah.
It fell on. It's on the beach. All right.
Son of a beach.
Right.
I'll see myself out now.
Does anyone else have any ideas about closing holes in hazmat suits?
Hmm.
Huh.
And not puns.
Why don't you try to use your magic then?
Oh, hang on. I think Chad has redeemed some plot points. So,
Ah, Antonio's friend the squirrel.
yeah, that is exactly what happens. A squirrel that seems strangely unaffected by the moss runs up to you and skips along the branches just above where the moss has been, jumps down on your shoulder, and in its paws it has a small roll of duct tape, just enough that you need for this particular instance. It looks at you, and in your mind you hear, "You dropped this."
Theodora.
Acid. Let's go.
Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. I'll make sure to
You're only one,
stock the
then.
bird feeder.
You better. This time, maybe bring me home with you. Left me here.
If I survive this, You've got a deal.
Can I hear the squirrel in my
Here.
head?
You can hear like squeaking with intent.
There's a satchel inside the hazmat suit. If you climb in there, you should be safe.
Where you're going, no one is safe.
Good luck out there.
You too. And she scatters off up into a tree.
Thank you.
And if you do any of you, I should say, try to keep an eye on her?
Ryan
I
is
want to try.
staring at
Can I
Ben.
try and tune in? I know she's not a monster.
You know what? In this case, it's less tune in and more a regular telepathy type
Okay.
situation. Because she's not an enemy; she's just a squirrel.
I wanna say, hey, how do you feel about oh God, what is it? Obstacle courses.
I'm intrigued.
I'm interested in building a squirrel obstacle course. I've got walnuts.
I mean, walnuts are really good. Where are you building this?
My backyard. And I indicate where my backyard is
Well, I don't have a map on me.
in a general sense. Just ask the owl. The owl will let you know.
Fantastic. I'll make sure to talk to Percy. It sounds like a great idea.
Is that the owl's name?
Of course.
Okay.
How do you?
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, you're welcome. And she hops off. Is anyone else trying to make contact with? Was it Theodora you named her?
I will definitely be keeping in touch.
Glenn just mutters to Winter. Can't you teach your owl to make such useful tricks too?
Can I teach you useful tricks? I can try.
Okay, back to matters at hand. Anybody has any rope
Stairs.
or something?
Magic.
You want to roll preparedness and see if more woodland creatures are bringing items you dropped. I will, however, let you have some regular rope. I won't even make you roll for it. As sad as I am that I don't get to play more critters.
We will have a full menagerie before this is over. What's the point of going to the woods otherwise?
Ben has turned into Snow White. I see. This is how it's going now.
Okay. Kids, be reasonable about this and don't resist, says Glenn, cracking his knuckles.
What are you about to do?
Well, they won't go out of their free will. We have to convince them.
Wait, we can do something simpler. It's just those 4, right? The 14s?
Yeah. Should be 4 of them.
You know, maybe if me and Ven work together, make a quick portal, shove them through. They'll be gone away from here, so they cannot be absorbed into moss. No more moss people. It will be, of course, angry, but then we just kill it, as was always my plan.
Yeah.
Portals. All right. Sure. Yes. Portals. That's
Have a little faith.
I want to help.
Portals are exceptionally dangerous. You're
we
a master of magic. You should know.
Dangerous for who? I've never in my life messed up a portal.
But won't we be spreading the moss this way? Kids are partly moss too. There is in their heads
Well, the hope is that by getting them away from the moss, when the moss dies, the moss in them dies.
Put them
Glenn's
on Mount
right, though.
Washington.
We can't rely on that.
So actually, to make safe, we don't spread the moss, and to make the portal easier, maybe just let's do half a mile or something, and we'll just run to this portal thing before they come back.
I jump up and down and raise my hand.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, Winter.
What if you put them on top of Mount Washington? It is very cold up there year round.
That would take.
And it's one of the most bizarrely weathered, like it's one of the one places that has the most bizarre weather in all of New England. And that's saying something, considering New England is like crazy weather town.
Then leans into Winter and says, "Don't go to Mount Washington."
Why not?
Leans back. The cold is not the biggest threat.
Well, obviously, there's like a whole, like there's Tuckerman's Ravine, and I start listing off all like the different like really treacherous trails up the mountain.
I've worked Mount Washington before. Don't go to Mount Washington.
Right. There were Yetis there, right?
Oh, there's worse than Yetis up there.
Oh, but Yetis are fun.
They are. They have the best snowball fights. You just don't want to get hit.
Snowball
God.
fights with Yetis. All right, then. A man of many experiences.
So
So we now need to have an adventure on Mount Washington.
I know that's the next flashback. Next
Gotta
time
throw
we
hooks
go
out
to
somewhere.
it's Yeti snowballs at Mount Washington.
Man,
I've run weirder things. It's a thing now.
let me roll back to previously. When previously Ryan, was it Ryan? I think Ryan managed to dispel the Moss's influence on one of these kids before, right?
I
Briefly,
can't
yeah.
remember who did it, but someone did bring Jenna out of Moss's grasp.
Yeah.
That didn't actually remove the moss, right?
It's more that it mostly did the trick. It was more that it kind of regrows. So unless you get someone completely cleansed of it, it's going to keep growing and gradually regain its influence. You also know that it got a lot worse when she was hit with water, as if that accelerated the growth.
You know, have we given thought to not setting a whole fire, but heating things up a little bit and seeing if that moss won't come out on its own?
Maybe I can ask the moss.
Well, ask it to come out.
I don't think it is going to cooperate with us anymore.
You
But
said
I
last time it
think
didn't go well.
you're onto something, Ryan. Maybe let's teleport them to Utah or something.
Sure. Utah.
Isn't there a lake that's like raw salt water?
Oh, I thought more about the desert part or Nevada.
Are you talking about the Dead Sea?
No, there's the salt flats in Utah.
Yeah, I know. I thought just about the desert, but salty deserts will be even better.
Okay, listen. There's a tremendous amount of effort that would have to go into most of these ideas. To Mount Washington, to Utah, to a salt plain?
Well, Mount Washington isn't that far. It's like, and I point, it's like right there.
Distance
But-
matters not. Teleportation is a conceptual endeavor. It's more a matter of
But with the mountain, you have to be more precise. And when you are trying to hit Utah, there's a lot of room for error.
A lot of Utah.
How's about we just aim for the
What's easier to hit,
Hardware.
anywhere in Utah or like safe spot on Mount Washington?
the
It's a
hardware
philosophical
store
debate. Yeah.
is what I was thinking. It's
There was-
right there. We've seen it. We've been there.
There was that back room. There were a couple of doors. Like
Yes.
yeah.
There was that door that I accidentally rehung upside down.
Yes.
Right.
But it's not that hot
Sure.
and not that dry
That's
and not
still
that salty.
let's teleport them. But it's quarantined. It'll keep them away for a while.
really strange how we found the door like that.
Yes.
Wild.
Such
All
an
right.
oddity that a hardware store wouldn't be able to hang a door correctly, isn't it?
Yep, let's focus on what we were doing. Am I right?
Yes. Teleporting children.
I'm gonna walk up to one of these kids.
Are
Hey,
you?
hey, you.
They just look at you,
Come closer.
smile.
Come closer.
Let's keep the distance. Glenn steps to stop Ryan.
So very dramatic.
They just tilt
Hmm.
their heads, I should say, because it's plural, slightly to the right. And they go, "The forest is beautiful this time of year. You should come see
Yes.
it."
Yes, it is.
We're here. Where do you want us to go to see the forest? We're already here.
They just
Hmm.
smile.
You know where else is beautiful? The gardening aisle. Teleport.
Right.
Okay.
Well, this will be
Are
fun
you-
to do from long range.
Okay. A lot of things happening. Then are you trying to teleport them?
Yep. Getting amongst it.
Ryan, based on your gesture, what are you throwing?
I am. I'm gonna. Can I try to help then by like trapping one in place?
How do you do that? Like, what are you?
Just use
Describe to
magic.
me what you're doing.
So I throw my hand out and I try to hold them in place. Use magic to trap a specific person, minion, or monster. So
Okay.
whatever they're considered.
Yep. So here's the thing. You reckon that if you do put a hold that holds them in place, teleporting is going to be pretty hard, because now Ven would have to not only successfully teleport 4 people, which is already a pretty substantial feat, they would now have to compete with your magic.
Oh, you're doing all at once? Then
Might
I'll
as
just
well
help
go
them.
big.
I'll try to help them then.
All right. So Ven, teleporting 4 people, that's big magic.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna be dumping that D6 into this.
So let me have a look at the specifics of big magic.
And asking for as
Um,
much help as the rest of the party can provide. Looking at Glenn and being like, if you follow along, it might not be terrible.
So I'll say that you do need a few things. You reckon it will be easier if everyone helps out in some way? Doesn't have to be magical. But also, you know this is very dangerous. Especially with 4 people, and if you're aiming for the gardening aisle, you need to make sure they're not teleported into something, because you recognize that if this moss comes into contact with fertilizer, your aim needs to be very good.
Actually, can we aim for like the employee break room?
Yeah.
The gardening aisle
Yes.
was for fluff.
Yeah. I was like, you might want to choose where
Yeah,
they go.
no.
All right. So, in order to pull this off, I'm going to need all 3 of your companions to help in some way. You do get to discuss the strategy before you implement it. In fact, I'd appreciate it if you do, so I can tell you how it goes wrong.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that vote of confidence.
So,
Right.
do you want
Well-
them maybe restrained so they don't move, so you have more time or something like this?
Hmm. Actually, do you think you could get them closer, or like lump them together a little bit more? Maybe just kind of
Sure.
push them and domino them together.
Sure.
They're gonna know
I have
something's
something
up.
exactly good for that on my mind. Yep, I can.
They're gonna know
I can
something's
try,
up
I
as soon
mean.
as we start moving.
So, Glenn, what do you have in mind?
Well, we have that rope. That ordinary rope.
Cowboy Glenn.
Okay.
Kind of lasso some wild ones.
I'm all here for it. If you do choose to do that, I'll have you roll to help out, which I think is your cool. Let me double check. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So if you do go ahead with that, I'm going to need a cool roll from you. Winter and Ryan, how are the two of you helping out?
I want to help out magically by kind of like helping to channel magic.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how to do that. Or
that's
I can also kind of like either tune in or listen telepathically to the moss to see if it's like what it's thinking, or like if it notices this magic coming. Does that make sense?
yes, I'll double check what tune in does, because I know it's one of your special abilities.
If
Yeah,
we can get them situated between us and all working like to anchor and direct the flow, it'd probably be easier.
Winter,
Rather
what I
than-
can have you do if you choose to talk to the moss is to roll to manipulate it. And
Okay.
that's to sort of, I'd say that it sounds like you're going for a, would I be correct in assuming that you don't want it to notice this magical preparation happening?
Right.
So
that
if
is correct.
So yeah, if you roll to manipulate the moss, you can definitely try. Well, the entity, you can choose to try to manipulate it to distract it, pretty much,
Okay.
or convince it not to pay attention for a little while. Ryan, how are you helping?
That's a 7. Huh.
Oh, I haven't rolled yet. I thought
That's-
we are just discussing for now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
No worries.
Oh,
So
no.
In
I'd
that
say,
case.
like, Winter, you can still try to like chat to the moss, whether they end up going through with it or not. At most, you'll have like a moss that's a bit annoyed at you, but it already is. So Ryan, how are you helping before all of this kicks off?
As I am the resident connoisseur of big magic, big rituals, anything more in depth with magic, a la go big or go home, I think I would love to. And story wise, just earlier this day, I teleported myself. It was quite a while ago, but so I think
Yeah.
Ryan's like, all right then. Well, let's do this together, shall we? Not that I don't believe in your abilities, but I'm just a bit different, aren't I?
Ooh. Okay, so um, I need to see how that ability works when it's combined with someone else. Okay, so what I'll let you do is, so the way this is going to happen, because there's a lot going on in one single moment. Firstly, Winter's going to reach out to the moss. That's already happened because the roll is there conveniently. Then I'll let Glenn go to see if he can help you by bunching them all together.
I
After
think
that, yep.
I think that throwing a loop on all of them is pretty impossible because they stand too far apart. So I'll try lassoing one on one of the outer ones of the 4,
Mhm.
and just run quickly around the other side of the line
Awesome.
yeah.
That's
using
going
my
to be it's going to be act under pressure, which is still cool. So yeah, regardless of which, it's going to be a cool roll. After that
Okay.
happens, regardless of outcome, I'll need Ryan to roll to help, and regardless of the outcome, you're going to get 1 bonus point to Ven from your go big or go home. You may, however, if the roll goes really well, get an additional bonus point. So then you're at minimum going to have a +1 to your roll. It could be another +1 or 2, depending on how well Ryan rolls and how well everything else is going. So,
Okay.
starting with Winter, you have the Moss's attention. What are you? How are you trying to distract it or manipulate it? What do you say?
I think I'm gonna ask, like, so who's that big who's your friend in there?
Why should I tell you?
Oh, why shouldn't you? Maybe we could help you. Apparently it's not having a hard, like, apparently you're having a hard time keeping it at bay, whatever it is.
I have no problems keeping anything at bay. It's right
Have you
in
ever
here.
seen a bay?
No. No, I haven't.
Have you ever sold anything on eBay?
I don't quite know what you're trying to do. Now,
I'm
as this
That's your-
conversation happens and the moss is bewildered, Glenn, the rope trick is brilliantly thought out. The execution, however, something goes wrong as you're trying to pull this off. What is it that happens?
I guess the first step, that was the hardest one. Throwing the loop over the kid. Well, I missed. And
Yeah.
I started running, and after I've made half a circle around them, I noticed the other end is not where it's supposed to be. I'm just running with rope that's dragging on the ground.
That's the thing, like you're so dead set on this epic plan that you try to, like, every other step you nail. It's just the first crucial one where instead of sliding over, over their head, it just slaps them on the shoulder.
So can I improvise some quick remedy, very quick?
I'll say if more things go wrong, you might have more time, but this plan is like the ball is already rolling.
Okay.
So depending on what happens with Ryan and Ben, there might be more time for you. So do we have a roll from Ryan to help out yet? Ooh, nice. Yeah. Then you're going to get a +2 to your big magic roll. So I want you to roll me a regular use magic with a +2. And you mentioned that you might want to use the 1d6.
You know what? Ryan called it. Go big or go home. Let's dump everything we've got into this.
All right. So spell is underway. Have you added? Yeah, you've added the modifiers already, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
And 6.
Oh yeah, there's a 1d6 as well. Yep. Spell goes off, and it is beautiful. You feel as if this is how magic is supposed to be. These 4 kids, you're convinced that they're picked up from this particular part in the universe and have landed safely in the staff room. Now, I'm going to give you an added benefit because you did get 12 or above. You get
They
the
all have
feeling.
coffee.
I mean, they can choose to make one because you get a feeling that the moss isn't gone completely, but you see like spores dropping down to the ground. And you reckon you may have given them at least partial autonomy back. Glenn, are you still running?
Well, because I've expected a lot of resistance from, from 4 objects of insignificant mass when summed together. That means probably I've just tripped and landed face on the ground. So that was epic magic, but Glenn has introduced a slapstick element to this movie.
I think that describes how these things often go with the group. It's like, it's epic, provided you don't look too close.
Then turns to Ryan and is like, magic, and throws up a high five.
Yes, magic. Good job. Good job.
Do you actually return the high five, or do you leave them hanging? That's what I want to know.
You know, this is probably the first time Ryan's seen Ben do some truly big magic. So, yeah, Ryan returns the high five.
Glenn turns his head to the left, to the group, wiping the moss of the helmet's glass visor. Did it work?
Yeah, we got him.
Great.
Magic. Ah.
And in your mind, you hear a sudden, wait, where are my children? This is your doing, isn't it?
I didn't do it.
You feel that this moss has gone from, nah, screw these people, to, ooh, there's an active target now pointed at all of you.
Hey guys, I think the active target is now pointed at us. Moss is now not happy with us.
It's okay, we weren't happy with them either.
All right, time to kill
it. Then starts liberally applying duct tape to the hole in the front of their suit.
I love that you didn't repair that until now. But yes, you can repair.
Let me try something a little different.
And then passes it over to Ryan.
Yeah. I'm going to try to just hover slightly above the ground so I'm not in the moss.
Could you please roll to use magic for that?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah, you have it perfectly. In fact, as you move up slightly, it feels as if you're shaking off like a layer of spores that were already on your suit. Why are you all awake and driving? Oh my god. 6:30 and my neighborhood is already active. So yeah, you reckon that you've in fact decreased the risk of anything having been trapped on your suit.
All right, let's get in there.
I think I'm like, does the moss give me any other information, or is it just like still giving me the cold shoulder now that it notices that the kids are gone?
You get a sense of rejection. It's probably not going to reply to you. And if it does, it's going to be a lot of censored swear words applicable to moss.
Okay. I turn to the group and I say, I don't think anyone's ever gonna love me. I think I'm gonna die alone.
Okay, wow. All right. I guess we're having
Winter.
this conversation right now.
Winter, what's with the pessimism? You know the owl will always be there for you.
Oh, God damn it. I now feel worse.
Don't you have? Didn't Jenna give you her number already?
And yeah, what are the moss people? You get that date. It'll be fine.
I'm so sorry, but we should probably shelve this until we can have a proper discussion.
That makes sense.
Oh my God.
I am so sorry. We will come back to this. I swear.
I feel
swear.
even more rejected, but I also recognize the fact that we should probably just return to the story.
Probably not the time right now.
I
The moss
swear.
is starting to disobey the borders of the pesticide. We should probably
Glenn's
burn that thing.
checking the straps of the spraying apparatus with like half of the tank left. There's still some spraying to be done.
Is anybody injured? Everybody good?
Aren't we still injured from the shotgun blast?
Us? No.
Did you heal perfectly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I know you healed some, but I wasn't sure if it got all of the damage.
Right, because you did that insane spell.
Yeah, healed dead even.
Thought about that. Okay, yeah, then we're actually good.
Yeah.
Right.
Glenn is a little bruised from fighting with the tentacles.
I mean, if you'd like me to use magic to try to heal you.
Oh no, I'm answering the question as a player. Glenn doesn't care with anything that's below dying.
Hey,
Oh wait,
wow.
no, I was looking at the luck markers, not at harm markers. Oh yeah, I'm past the marker. I have 4 harm. Yep.
Yeah.
So actually,
I was just gonna say you might want to double check your character sheets.
Master of magic.
I was looking at the squares on top, not the ones I should be looking.
Well, I am not a very practiced user of healing magic, but I will attempt to heal you.
Ryan.
Oh no, it's well.
You're a master of magic. How could healing is?
Listen, it's within my wheelhouse. Just does not happen to be something I choose to do very often because if you're a master, a true master, you don't get hurt that often.
Well,
just
can
don't want
we
to
do it? Can we do it old school? I mean, after we kick these things ass.
Right. Hold still.
Kicking ass on a broken leg is much harder.
Well, I'm not falling down, so it means I'm okay to continue this fight, right? What happens after you cast the spell is, well, a mystery. It's not... are you okay, Par?
Ooh, is that Zoom connection issues?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, looks like Par is locked up.
Uh-oh.
So for a moment, Ryan is frozen in thought about all the times Not that he would ever admit when magic has gone wrong in the past.
I think I've offended Ryan with my doubts in his abilities.
There's a bit of that as well, I suspect. In fact, he's going to give you the cold shoulder for a little while, almost as if he's pretending not to hear this. Both, like if you do wish to pursue the potential option of magical healing, that should be something that both Ven and Winter might be able to help out with.
I'll stick with what I said. If Glenn says if I'm not falling down, then I'm okay to fight. Let's go.
I'm just gonna try and magically heal you.
All right. Could you please
I'm not
roll?
going.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, right. That's a good idea. In chat.
Hey. Yeah, it would be.
Cool. So we'll just do that one last roll to see if you do get healed before we. So Winter, could you please roll me a weird?
Yep.
Okay. So it's a 9. There will be some magical healing. There might also be a glitch. And what that glitch might be is what we'll find out after the break.
Oh no.
right. So welcome back, everyone. Where we were before the break is that Winter had just helped Glenn heal a little after realizing he was at, well, far more harm than they actually thought. However, with a 9, you do get a bit of healing, Glenn. So you're going to feel a bit better. Let's make sure I look at the right thing. There is 1 point of harm that is reduced from you. However, there's a bit of a glitch to this magic, and you recognize that this healing is temporary. So that if you don't get proper medical treatment within the next 24 hours or so, that 1 point of harm is going to return.
I tried.
Yeah, went decently.
Temporary is better than nothing.
Exactly. So you have the equivalent of 1 temporary hit point, which in this game is a whole lot more than it is in D&D. All right, so you've successfully teleported the 4 teenagers to the staff room at the hardware store. What do you all do?
Well, shall we? And I gesture towards the entrance of the cave.
Absolutely. I'm going to hover over there.
All right. So the entrance is completely covered in moss. You'll have to sort of sift through it or spray it away. You can try to set it on fire too. However, moss burns really, really well, which is worth remembering. What you find is it's not as much a cave as it is a trapdoor. And it seems to be leading down into, I mean, the 4 of you have seen some weird shit in your days. This has all the markings of a Cold War age bunker.
New Hampshire people, am I right?
Mm. It does, however, appear to be unlocked. It's closed, but unlocked.
I want to open it.
All right. Firstly, it's not going to be a roll or anything. How are you dealing with the moss between where the pool of pesticide was that you were standing in and where this entrance is? Which method are you using?
I think we talked fire all the time, so time to put our words.
We've got that little dragon's
forwards
breath
direction.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Go at it, Glenn. The fireman.
Borrowing a popular phrase from D&D, are you sure you want to do this?
We could still make us all fireproof. Magic is always an option.
I'm already hovering.
Hovering is not necessarily inoculation to all problems.
There's
Well-
2 reasons why I'm going, are you sure you want to do this? Do you want to hear what they are, or do you want to gamble?
I mean, as a player, I might be interested in rethinking this course of action, but Glenn isn't.
I think I would like to know why. I want to roll insight, to borrow a popular phrase from D.
You don't need to roll for this because it's pretty common knowledge that pesticide is extremely flammable, and so is moss.
And are we covered in pesticide?
You're standing in a pool of it. There's been a lot of it sprayed around. Some of you have tanks of it on your back.
I thought we are talking about the one, the moss in the entrance of the cave.
So it's
So,
more like
if
it's
we-
going to be very risky, and you need to get to point A from point A to point B.
Oh,
There
So
is
you
a
can
lot
see-
of pesticide around.
Yes.
I think
So-
like I want to rub my feet in the ground, like in the pesticide, and try to take a step into the moss.
The very sort of parts that the soles of your feet or of your boots rather touch, that seems fine. However, it's still sort of tugging at your suit.
Where is it
Mm.
tugging me towards?
It's a general sort of I've got a hold on you kind of thing.
Oh,
It's not actively like dragging you somewhere.
well, we can still try to book it. As my sergeant in the boot camp yelled, "Knees high, maggots!"
I'm
And
hovering.
Glenn runs into the moss.
Um,
I just love the visual of this. Glenn, can you describe what you look like, even without like the hazmat suit?
Well, I'm certainly lifting my knees high when I'm
Mm.
running.
So you all see this, war-forged veteran who's seen some shit in his days, dressed in a yellow hazmat suit with a tank of pesticide, like wobbling about on on his back. You can hear the squelching as the pesticide moves, jogging with very, very high knees in the direction of a trapdoor. It's quite a glorious sight out of context.
I think I say something along the lines of "When in Rome," and I follow.
All right. Well,
Ven is,
I'm gonna fly over.
Yeah, you can do that. You've already rolled to levitate.
yeah, Ven is also going to be playing the "fuck this, I've got magic" card and attempting flight.
Yeah. No, for some reason this visual is completely cracking me up, but
Ooh,
Can't blame you.
Oh no, is that
No.
a 6?
that's a 6.
So then what were you trying to do?
Flight, trying to harden the air underneath the soles, kind of create a hardened air bridge, pressure bridge.
See, it almost works. The problem is that instead of creating a bridge for you to step up on, you manage to completely solidify the air around you all the way up to your thighs. Question is,
Well,
does
this-
anyone stop to look to see if Ben is coming along?
This is a dilemma.
This group is so wonderful for like slapstick humor. It's fantastic.
Try a bar slide.
Hey, Ben, what are you doing? Come on, Mal.
I was thinking of flight, and then like what would the opposite of flight be, and I worked it out.
Oh, well, good job. Cancel the spell and let's go.
It's gonna take you maybe 3 minutes or so to figure out how to undo the magical bond you've created on yourself.
I'm gonna need a minute. I was trying to get fancy, and I'll be there in a minute. Go ahead and go on without me.
It's not a
Oh,
major
Ben.
delay. It's not something that is going to expose you to danger. It's mainly a blow to your ego.
Oh, Ben, if you wanted to get fancy, you should have just asked me.
Because again, this trapdoor was only, what did we say, a solid 20 meters
Yeah.
away. So it's not a long distance by any means. So while Ven is freeing themselves, what are the rest of you doing? Are you going in and hoping they'll follow, or are you just giving them a few moments to sort their sort their life out.
We should at least open the doorway.
Yeah.
In military terms, Glenn will secure the area of the trapdoor.
Yep, the area of the trapdoor is secure. I mean, there's moss all around, but it doesn't seem to be
I'm
attacking you.
spraying a little,
Yep, moss goes
very
away.
little amount of
Decidedly
pesticides.
unhappy.
I will taunt the moss.
How are you taunting the moss?
Oh, that phrase just cracks me up. Count the moss.
Ryan, Ryan, as he's hovering, looks down and says, can't reach me, can you?
Are you saying this out loud, or are you attempting some type of magical communication?
Oh, no, I'm just being a dick.
And slaps the front of their suit and yells, "Can't touch this! It was right there!"
Like, the moss is actively touching you, it's just not trying to drag you anywhere. It's still there. It's just sort of...
For you, Ven, for you.
Well, it can, though.
Can it, though?
Well, when I get over there.
Eventually, the trapdoor is cleared, and then you are free to make your way over in whatever capacity you like.
Walk of shame.
Yes.
Yeah.
Frustrated trudging the entire way.
The moss lets you move through. It's now that the kids are out of harm's way, even though it's angry about it, it's not moving to attack the way it did before. So yeah, the trapdoor is opened. There's a set of stairs leading down the way you might see into into a lot of like even modern basements would still have these sort of stairs, and you can see a narrow corridor. This is covered in moss. It's a bit like trying to see through cotton candy, or fairy floss for the Australians out there.
Fairy floss.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I
it's
love.
a pretty good name, right?
Yeah.
That's the best name I've ever heard for that. That is amazing.
Side note, Australians should not be allowed to name anything, but we got that one right.
Like with naming things in Australia, it's either like perfect or it's just like what?
Yeah.
Or it's British. It's just straight up
Yeah,
British.
it's either we didn't bother coming up with something new, or it's an indigenous name, or we screwed it up normally. That's how it works around here. So, what do you all do? Do you keep spraying going forward? Do you try to light up out of this tunnel? How do you approach this issue?
Since there isn't much pesticide here down in this tunnel,
I think. Can
But-
I look around and see if I can find like a rock or something?
I mean, you're in a forest. There's probably a decent chance you can. Yep, no problem.
I want to pick up a rock and like kind of throw it down and see what happens.
It bounces off of the moss. Not to the point where you've hit a rubber wall or anything. It's more that it's stopped, bit of a recoil, and then just falls flat.
On top of the moss?
It sort of glides down. So
Okay,
yeah,
so like if I had thrown it in water, it kind of has the same effect.
yeah,
Like,
but I don't. It's as if you'd thrown it in mashed potato. I don't know why that's the only comparison my brain is giving me right now. It's something, it doesn't go through clear. It's sort of not a complete liquidy texture. There's a bit of resistance.
We need to get this. This doesn't look great.
Glenn thought about something and stows away the can of fire and just sprays more pesticide. I need
Yeah.
to keep, I need
Could
to
burn
keep
this.
this for right moment.
Wait, I get an idea. What if we light something on fire, throw it down there, and then quickly close the door so that it can all burn up?
That might not go as quickly as you expect.
You do also have a couple of tanks of pesticide remaining.
You have maximum of one complete one, and I think it's a non-enchanted version you have.
But we don't need a complete one to make a bomb, as we mentioned earlier.
Yes, that is correct.
And a burning thing and a bomb they're close cousins. They're good friends.
They
Well,
are.
Here's a question.
every bomb produces a wave of fire.
Well, here's
I
a
mean,
question.
Flammable one at least.
This moss is a creature, right? It's considered a creature.
Is that a question for me or for the group?
Oh, sorry, for you.
It's
Monster.
a hostile creature. It's, however, more of an appendage.
So, would you say, if we did go with the fire planet, we threw fire down there, could I trap this creature inside of this this entryway? This place?
I'm going to put it like this. Moss isn't very quick at running.
I take no chances.
I mean, you can decidedly roll for it. You can certainly use magic to try.
I just want to know if it's possible.
We don't know how far our real target is down there. If it's too far,
That's like I assume you've caught up enough to have shared the knowledge that there's. I think Winter put it that there's a hive mind almost, and then these are the minions running around.
I think the way I put it was the moss is a hat that the hive mind is wearing and using.
Pretty much.
and Glenn, I remember Glenn wanting to punch the face under the hat, but we don't know how far the face in the tunnel is.
Yes. So, effectively, you have a hat and a head in an enclosed space. I think.
A hat.
I'm sort of lost in this analogy by now, everyone.
Inside of a cloak.
Yeah.
Maybe let's try firebombing it indeed.
Right.
Let's try this bomb thing.
There is, because it's been longer than normal, otherwise I wouldn't have shared this information or reminded you of it. You do know that what the moss considers to be the greatest threat is also inside this den.
Oh, right. There is something else apart the moss, right?
What
Can
are
I
the
tune
chances?
into that?
Okay, maybe let's not firebomb it then.
So what was that, Winter?
Can I try and tune into that thing?
No, because it is not hostile inherently. It's not inherently a creature.
So I guess we need to take it slowly and just spray our way.
As with tune in, normally you need to know what it is you're tuning into. With the moss, you'd spent enough time around it to be able to sort of follow the tendrils back. But this is just like, there's something down there. You don't know if it's... can't remember exactly how the moss described it, but there's something in there that's a threat. It may or may not be a creature. Moss is a bit of an unreliable narrator.
Can I try to tune back into the moss?
I mean, yes, it may not reply to you anymore because you're not its favorite person.
Uh, I'll try to do that.
All right. What are the rest of you doing while this is happening? Are there any actions you want to take? Any coordination before Winter chats to the moss again?
Go inside.
All right. So you notice as you try to approach, do you go into the moss?
I could. Oh,
Ryan, do you go into the moss or do you just sort of look at it closer?
Didn't we cleared the way inside of this? What is it? Tree type thing, or is it a
Trap
So
door.
you're effectively there's a trapdoor and it's going down into a basement.
Gotcha.
It has very much the vibes of a sort of Cold War type bunker.
Gotcha.
And you've cleared the entrance a little to see that it goes down, and then there's again just solid moss.
Mm.
Like the whole thing is filled with fairy floss.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Never mind.
Okay, so should we start spraying or do we have any other plan?
Yeah, because if you do want to talk to Winter before they tune into the moss, now's probably the chance to do that. Because, like, Winter, you're still pretty alert when you're tuned in, but you might have slightly delayed reactions to stuff like sudden fire erupting right in front of you. So you'll be distracted, but yeah.
Tell it to show itself, its true self, and we will give its children back.
I don't know if tune in works that way.
Don't you just talk to it?
I think tune in is just like investigate, but within the monster's mind.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
telepathy earlier was different.
Doesn't specify a whole lot about tuning into it as to what you can do. I'll give you a few options and you can choose one of them. One, you can try to see through its eyes if it has eyes, like as if you're using one of their senses. You can try to get a better understanding of this creature, or you can use it to forge a telepathic link. In this instance, to communicate with something that normally can't be communicated with.
Mm.
So you get to sort of, you can see where it's at. However, it's not like it goes a bit beyond telepathy, which is pretty much picking up a like with telepathy, it's a telephone sort of situation. After you've used it to investigate a mystery, so you can still ask questions through telepathy, but once you've already successfully done that a few times, I'll just let you like pick up the phone.
I think what I want to do is I kind of want to see or understand what the thing it is that is its biggest threat.
Okay. I'd say in that case we might. Why do I have that handout open? That's not what I want to look at.
I've rolled an 8.
do you know what you rolled an 8 for? Like what the ability is?
Well, that was through the tune in.
Yeah. I'd say, which skill did you use?
Tune in. Oh, weird.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the best way, because I know what you're trying to do, and it's a sort of where your two abilities mesh type of scenario. How with an 8.
And I don't know if I get to hold one or if I get to gain +1 because I'm acting on an answer from the previous tune in.
Yes. However,
wouldn't
that it doesn't change the skill bracket that you've ended up in.
Right.
What I'll let you do in this scenario is ask one question from Investigate in Mystery, because I think one of those questions might be exactly what you're trying to find out.
What can hurt it?
So you recognize
Is that the one you were talking about, or?
I think there's two of them that can be approached, but with the whole sort of what is it hiding? Like what is this moss trying to protect itself from?
What is being concealed here?
Yeah, like you can choose whichever one. You'll get like they're not super different in this case. You get a feeling that there's information that it's trying to hide, because you're able to, it's almost like it's boastful. You can tell that pesticide might keep it at bay, but fire's not going to hurt the creature itself. Nor is any type of stabbing or physical violence, even most magic would fall short. This creature is immune to a lot of things. And what it's hiding is the one thing or person or creature that has the information on how to fully take it out. The most efficient way of doing so. That's what you get when you combine your two abilities and act on previous answers.
That it's hiding the thing that, like, so it's Superman and it has a whole like stash of kryptonite.
It may not be necessarily a stash of kryptonite. It could be, but it could also be the, hey, my one weakness is kryptonite. I've got it written in a nice, neat little journal.
Oh.
So you're not sure if it's the actual thing that will hurt it, or if it's like, you know, the one thing that has the information about how to kill it.
We probably don't want to burn this house down. I feel like there's more in there than we should. There's stuff in there that's going to burn that is not going to be helpful to our situation, or stuff that if it burns, we just paddled up shit creek without a paddle.
And visibly slumps.
Perfect sound effect.
Well, I just realized I can also try to talk to this thing.
Are you trying to talk to the... So, because you don't have the exact same abilities as Winter, who sort of specializes in like this is one of their areas of specialization. You can attempt to talk to the tendril, like this moss tendril, as you've heard it referred to. But you reckon that to talk to the big thing, you might need to get a visual. Because you don't quite know what it is you're trying to talk to. Or you can just sort of throw it out, and then it's going to be the equivalent of a higher difficulty to succeed. Like yell into the void, effectively. Like a magical yell into the void and hope it responds.
I mean, I've talked to a library before.
Yeah, you've talked to a library, but then you knew it was a library and you were in it. So
Can I talk to this
the whole
bunker?
distinction. You know what? Roll for it. Give me a use magic roll.
Communicate with something that you do
yeah.
not share a language with.
You can try. You may. I'll say that you can probably, just like with the library, this bunker may be a bit difficult to talk to because it's a bunker. But you can try.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
That's a
Ryan?
roll.
What do you do? What do you say?
Ben is watching this entire process in bemused amazement, by the way.
Man is not the only one. Yeah, that's the highest success tier. So
I talk with Bunker beats the hell out of I Taunt the Moss.
You find out his name is Archie, and he's extremely racist.
Right. Is this thing on? Seeing this is working. It's been a while since I've talked to, well, structure, as I have in the past. How are you? How are you feeling?
hi. Oh, it's been forever. What are you?
Ah, I am, I suppose, to you, I'm a human.
Oh. It's been a while since I saw a lot of humans.
Good, good. You've seen a lot of moss in these days, huh?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yes, it is. Is there anything else around?
I mean, there's the equipment they left. There's the thing in the jar. And there is one human. He's been here forever. At least
Wow.
it feels like it. We're old friends.
Oh, wow.
He
That's
talks to me
great.
too sometimes, but he doesn't know that I try to talk to him.
Oh. Well, maybe I will be able to connect you two in some way.
So just saw Glenn's message in chat.
Equipment and another human, eh? As I repeat this out loud, very interesting. So he's been here a while.
Yeah.
Something in a jar, too.
Yeah, it's a big jar.
Big jar.
A big jar? Do I hear the other side of this conversation?
You only hear what Ryan is saying.
Okay.
I would like to plumb the depths of my dark past to
Yeesh.
determine what I might know about, like, local legends in the area.
Yes. Let me check out what that exact move does. And so I keep forgetting which character sheet belongs to who. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Roll me your weird, please.
Ah.
Fantastic. You get to ask 2 of those questions.
Do I know anyone that might be behind this? Is the closest translation of the thing that I want to know.
You don't.
Local legends about Cold War bunkers or military testing facilities, or.
You reckon that might definitely be the general direction of what's happened here, but the Cold War was a long time ago. That doesn't mean people stopped their research. Just means they may have gone underground with it. And, there's been some attempts at I mean, MK Ultra was a thing. Attempts to view the moon through psychic readings was a thing, and remote viewing. If psychic abilities in humans didn't quite do the trick, might have tried something else.
Do I know any black magic that would put me in contact with a psychic presence?
Just like, I feel like I'm coordinating a conference call.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody wants to talk.
And Glenn wants to punch.
Yeah. Just like, if you, it's a matter of what you want to talk to, who or what. Because so far we've got the general Moss, like the minion type thing floating around. We've got whatever Winter's been talking to, and now Ryan's talking to the bunker, and there's at least another human down there.
Ryan mentioned the other human apparently rather intentionally, so let's connect with them.
Yes, but you would need to be very successful. Like, you might be able to ping them if you throw your magic out there. But pinging and establishing a psychic connection where, it's full-on communication with someone you don't know, it's difficult, but you reckon you might be able to do it. Now that you've gotten intel from various sources.
Winter, when you're done with what you're doing, I might be able to facilitate communication elsewhere.
I just have a telepathy ability, right? Like, that's a thing.
Yeah, but I might be able to point you at a specific target.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And I have an idea what to do with this moss.
Yes.
Since we can't firebomb it, and I saw your face then when it was said that we can't put it on fire. You were pretty disappointed not being able to use your magic this way.
You can put it on fire. I was just recommending the fact that A, you're wearing pesticide bombs, and you also know there's another thing.
I know a type of magic that can take care of moss without damaging us or things on the bottom. Can you try freezing magic?
Then turns to Ryan. An ice spell would be pretty effective.
Hold on, I'm on a call. Yes, I believe the year is might be. Well, don't quote me on this. I don't really pay attention to that thing. Sorry, what? Then?
Ice spells. Master of magic,
Right.
freezing spells, maybe chill the area down a little bit, slow the moss up.
You want to do an ice spell on the moss?
Glenn had a good idea.
Sure. I would have to. I don't have an affinity for it, as I do with the wind, but we can always give it a try.
I figure we put our heads together, we can usually accomplish something magical. It doesn't always go well, but...
Ryan, in your mind, the bunker is chatting away about maintenance and how she's felt neglected lately. And normally, things like moss and mold are kept under control, but no. And maybe, the person who she's been looking after, who's been doing research here for all these years, maybe he just doesn't care about her anymore. It's roughly I might have been abandoned and I don't like it. That's the general chatter in the background.
Right. Well, we'll figure that out, won't we?
Winter, were you talking to the moss itself? What were you
I think I was just tuning in to see.
Okay, yeah.
I think that got resolved.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I feel like, when you had to call up and say, hello, yes, this is the person I would like to talk to. Can you connect me? I feel like I'm doing that thing with the wires at the moment. So, yep, your
Switchboard
tuning
operator.
in has been completed. Then you can see if you can ping someone. Glenn has recommended an ice spell to try to freeze it, and Ryan is chatting to the bunker. I think that's where we're at. Cool.
Yes, you deserve better. Yes.
Gonna do my best to ping this person.
All right. Can you please roll? You use magic.
Apparently, yes. Rather successfully.
Yeah, that's another. Oh my goodness, what are these rolls? Yeah, ugh. So, can you please choose the effect you're going for here? I'll say that what you're able to, my recommendation would be observe another place to see if you can get a sort of psychic ping on, this is where they are, that's what the room looked like.
Yeah.
Or you can just do like the equivalent of radar and try to keep that active. That's sort of where I might be wrong. Is that roughly where you're going with this?
Yeah, observe another place is probably the clearest vision to that.
All right, fantastic. What you do see is it appears to have been a small bedroom. It's again outdated. You're feeling Cold War vibes off of the aesthetic of the room. It's again not that far away from you. It's just a bit further down. There's a door with a significant lock on it, and there's an old man who is sitting in the corner of the room looking at the door in defeat.
Winter, come here.
Yeah. I come over.
I put my hand on Winter's forehead and I try to feed the image into Winter.
I'll say that's the added benefit you get from rolling insanely high. So Winter, you do get a visual of this.
Ah, I see. That man looks very, very dejected and old. How long has he been living down here?
Sounds like it's been a minute.
Huh. You think I should try and tune into it, or you think I should try to talk to him?
He looks pretty sad. Maybe a direct communication might have more positive effect.
I will use telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to use telepathy to kind of talk to him.
All right. So you can choose. You can either roll to investigate a mystery, or you can roll to manipulate to try to get this person to say the information you want. Because it's the first time you're connecting with them and you don't know them, you can't have a full-on phone call quite yet. So you'll still be able to get at least some information out of them. But it's more like mind reading and guiding their mind in the right direction.
I think I want to try and investigate a mystery.
Yep, you can absolutely roll to do that.
Do I get a +1 or anything?
Yes, because you are acting on previous information you got from TuneIn.
That's an 8.
Okay, so you do get to ask one of those questions.
What happened here?
So the old man gets a nostalgic and fearful at the same time expression on his face. And it's shortly after, the Cold War is over. There's no need for this research to be funded anymore. It's this sensation of, we won. Everything should be okay now. And that he refused to let go of this research. He felt he was on the verge of a breakthrough. And there was this moment of triumph when he succeeded. When what used to be a piece of moss was merged with, you're not sure what kind of creature it is. It could be human, but not quite.
If it's aliens,
You're not sure what it is. You've never encountered anything like it, but the merge was successful. And he's reliving his very first conversation, the first psychic conversation between the creator and his creation. And for a while, everything was wonderful. They spent years together, happily getting to know each other, developing a solid friendship.
in the background, I'm starting to hear this music, and I realize it's Happy Together.
I love that. It's just that eventually this moss, human moss communication has its limitations. And spending your entire existence in a bunker after having heard so much about the world out there, it started to want more, to see what was beyond this small cell that it was created in. And that's when things started going wrong.
Is that all that I get?
Yeah, for the moment, in terms of like what happened here. Yeah. If you'd rolled higher, you could have gotten a bit more information or gotten to ask a second question, but you have a pretty
Right.
solid grasp on this history. And you also get, I'll give you one more thing, that there was an an uneasy coexistence for a while afterwards, before things turned outright hostile.
Okay. Do I still have like the telepathic link to this guy?
I'd say it's fading again because you did use it to investigate a mystery and you've gotten that information. However, if you do try to reestablish a telepathic link later, it's going to be easier because you've already talked to this person. Or you know who and what they are now. So it's not reaching out based on like descriptions or secondary information.
I kind of just want to like say like hello.
There is no reply. He doesn't appear to hear you.
I'm gonna say it again out loud. Hello?
Are you shouting or are you?
I'm shutting down into the bunker.
You can sort of see him reacting to the sound, but that's when the link fades completely. Because that's also when Ven's magic starts to wear off slightly.
Okay. Well, there's a dude down there. He's sentient, and he merged some moss, for God knows what reason, with another creature. I don't know what the other creature is, but it seems telepathic. And they seemed to exist for a bit, but the moss was restless. And like, it seems like this is a classic case of like what happens when you marry the first person you date. You know what I mean? And like, I say this to the group.
Mm.
Vin's just like, that seems like a real bad time.
I look around and gesture to the moss, and I say, yeah, we're having a real bad time.
So should we go down there and grant them the divorce?
Yeah, why not? I'll give you that one. That was an epic one-liner.
So do you start moving down? Do you go back to the idea of an ice spell? What are you all doing?
I think I'm gonna try and like move downward-ish as much as I can.
I think we should try making the way with some ice drill, ice ball.
Sure. Always willing to give it a shot.
Well, you can decidedly try to use magic if you want.
Ryan, do you want to lead this one and I'll help out?
Sure. Why not? I don't know what specific. I guess inflict harm would be the thing most like it on use magic.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
Trap a specific minion or monster? This is an appendage to the monster, you said.
It's yes, but you're not exactly trapping it. I'd say, like, what are you trying to do without looking at the list? How are you approaching this?
Ryan's gonna try to run a chill through the whole moss.
Okay. In that case,
Please.
then roll for it, and I'll tell you how it works.
Sure. Oh, are you helping?
You're rolling to help?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought I had made that clear.
Sorry, my bad.
My bad.
All right, so you get a +1, but there might be side effects.
Okay, +1 forward. I added this to this roll before I roll it. Jesus.
Whoa. Wow, double 6.
Yeah.
That's a 16.
It's
Yeah,
about to
alright.
get chilly.
What is happening? What is happening?
I'll say what happens is you flash freeze the entire corridor quite easily. And now, moss, when frozen, provided it's not, clumped up, actually becomes quite fragile.
Yep.
You can walk through and it's just going to crumble and fall.
It's like I told you. It's like I told you, Van. Nothing is outside of my wheelhouse.
Ben just kind of steps back and gives a bow. Master of magic, I
Damn
concede.
right. Damn right.
I just walk down there.
Yep, you can walk freely. I
Cool,
mean, it's
cool.
slightly hard to navigate because it's still, you have to break through the moss, but it's a bit like walking through cobwebs. Like you have to brush it off of you occasionally, but it's not beyond a weird sensation. It's a minor inconvenience.
I wave my arms around to kind of like break up the moss.
Yeah, it easily crumbles around you.
Oh, Glenn follows and helps.
Yeah, you're clearing this corridor like badasses. Or a very efficient cleaning crew. Whichever description you think is more accurate.
I follow after Ven.
All right. So as you walk in, eventually you get to the answer to both is yes, absolutely. You get to a circular room, like there's a door, and if you go through that, you'll find that you're in a circular room with 4 other doors going from it.
Which were the doors you've seen in your mind's eye, then?
Which door
So-
looks...
One of the doors has a bathroom sign on it, a sort of generic, hey, this is information you need to know. One seems, because there's old signs that are still there or, etched into the wall almost with a little bit of information. One of them leads to a research area. One of them seems to be living quarters. And then there's also a surveillance area.
Well, if I were trying to hold off an endless wave of sentient moss, I might find my way to the security area.
I think I want to go to the research area.
Are you splitting
So-
the group or are you discussing it?
So which one is this? Glenn turns to Ven and Winter.
I turn to the group and I say, I feel like I want to see the old man with my human eyes.
So, based on the information that both Van and Winter got from seeing this with their psychic eyes, so to speak, it appears they were confined to living quarters, specifically to one room inside the living quarters.
What does everybody think? Do you want to go talk to the old man, or I don't mind splitting the party. I kind of just want to talk to this guy.
Hmm.
It does seem as though he might be a valuable source of information.
Could be. Could.
Yes,
very
that's
well
what I
be.
think too. I'm just asking where have you seen this guy? In which of those rooms?
Probably down living quarters,
Okay.
upon further consideration.
Yes.
So that's where Glenn heads.
All right.
Okay.
I also do that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You'll notice that the moss has the same effect. Sorry, you had the same effect on the moss before because your roll was insane. So you keep just sort of easily clearing the way, and you have a feeling that the regular moss is not going to be a problem going forward. Ryan is having a full-on Elsa moment. So there's, yeah, I know. I give my players magic, and this is what they do with it. There's 4 rooms in the living quarters, like 4 separate doors, and Are you saying anything as you're moving about, or are you trying to be stealthy? How do you all
I think
approach
I'm
this?
definitely calling out, like, hi, hello?
From inside one of the rooms, you hear, "Hello?
Hello?
Is anyone out there?"
Yep. Hello?
"Hello?"
I follow the sound of the voice.
I just love like Winter's adventures in communication.
Glenn heads towards the voice too.
It's not hard to identify which door it's coming from.
You
Yeah,
can
you
open.
Oh, sorry.
You can open the door. The
I-
moss down here is dead.
I open the door.
Yeah, and he's gotten up off the floor. But this is an old man. He's wearing a lab coat, big round glasses that are way too big for his face. These are the sort of, you'd see them in the 80s and 90s, you know, those gigantic ones. He is
Does
a
he
bit
have
unkept. Yep.
does he have long hair?
It's a sort of, do you all know who Bill Bailey is?
I've heard the
Yes.
name. I can also Google his face.
He's also known as the bald man with the long hair.
Oh dear God.
Oh, I see.
So it's the case of a very receding hairline and hair that is kept long. And he approaches you cautiously and he goes, "Well, why are you all in here?"
We came to stop the mind controlling moss.
She's made it out.
Yep.
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but have you want to destroy her?
Like, I'm cool with making friends, but she doesn't seem to want to make friends. So, yeah.
I'm pretty into destroying her. That seems like the better bet.
There's entire town in danger and under attack.
Also, like 4 teenagers who have been inhabited.
And quite a lot more people than that. We just haven't met. There were more of them, most certainly. That town was empty, wasn't it? Felt empty.
I mean, it's also a town in New Hampshire, so like, but
I see. Well, if it has truly come to this, there's 2 ways. Any of you a chemist?
And the second option?
Yeah. It takes a while longer, but you can dry her out.
So that's our plan A. I say to Ven and Ryan.
What's the chemistry option?
He lists off as if he's told himself about this option 1,000 times over the years. It's a very complicated formula. You get a feeling that even for a professional, this would be very, very hard to attempt. His,
Can I
his
use my
option.
telepathy to see it? Like get enough, like see what he's doing?
It's a sort of, you get the impression that it's a bit like watching someone perform brain surgery.
Oh dear God.
You're not really sure what you're seeing. Because Winter
Why
doesn't have a
can't you
background
just
in
do this?
science, do they?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's a bit like, yeah, it's the equivalent of watching brain surgery happening and go, maybe I could do that. But props not.
I feel like I could do it, but I don't know that Winter could do that.
Yeah, it's a sort of it's entirely up to all of you what you which option you choose, but he will say this poison, it will cause them to separate.
Sorry, I just saw
Wait.
chat.
So what's going on here exactly? Like, is there a source of this creature, or is it just the creature keeps multiplying?
Oh, and she was originally a jellyfish. And
jellyfish?
When we awakened the moss, we thought a jellyfish would be a good combination.
Jesus.
They're immortal, normally. They live forever.
I thought there was only a certain type of jellyfish.
Well, yes, that's why we chose that type.
So you gave a plant mind powers, and your first thought was, sweet, let's make it immortal.
Well, what's good about a jellyfish is that it can't walk.
And the problem of growth didn't occur to you?
They normally don't grow beyond a certain reach. Problem is, however, that moss grows.
And jellyfish aren't normally moss.
No.
I think I want to like grab him by his lapels and shake him. Like, what is wrong with you, man? And then I'm gonna slap him and say, "Get a hold of yourself."
You have successfully confused a very, very old man, possibly given him brain damage, but that hits him hard.
Lash.
Are you here to destroy me too?
No. We just need help containing this thing.
He is genuinely confused.
We don't need...
Why are you so confused? We were just talking.
He gave us the information we need. Let's go with plan E. Wait, plan A. Sorry.
I love it. There's suddenly a whole lot more plans being made. But yeah,
right.
Again, you've been told before that the creature lives in a jar, and you've been told that draining it could be a decent idea.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a while.
Where's the jar?
It's in the research area.
Come on, I say to the party, and Glenn leaves.
I follow.
You know what? I can't help myself. I am going to use preparedness to see if I have any of this compound on hand.
I'll say that at best you'll be able to find a simplified, like less efficient version of it, because this is a secret formula that has never left this lab. But you might hear enough about the formula to go, I have the generic brand version of that. That's the best I'll let you do.
It will give you
Unless it-
heartburn, but
I am completely okay with store brand Wonder
Yeah,
Drive.
it's like it might not be the exact same, but the 10.
Mm.
Let me see.
Truly wild.
Where did I put that? Okay, there we go. You do, in fact, have something very, very similar on you.
Wait a minute. Kind of like this? And Ven reaches into their satchel and pulls out a small vial of thing.
He takes a look at it. Where did you get this?
Found it. You never know when things are going to be handy. You store whatever comes up.
If it's not perfect, but it's better. This. You have pesticide?
Yeah,
Yeah.
still got a little bit.
With this, you can kill the moss but keep the jellyfish. You can undo it and one of them will die but one will live. She'll be a normal jellyfish again.
That does seem like a better option than crazy psychic immortal monster.
Just if you do, pour it into her jar, and then it should still work on the side of it. There's an option to flush the tank and to get the purification started. When they're separated, turn the wheel. That should do it.
Well, thank you for your help. Maybe give it 20 minutes, and then you should be able to go back to town.
He looks at you with a sort of, oh, you naive child type look, but it's very sad. He doesn't say anything.
there is a new town that has cropped up since the last time you showed up. Or since you've been down here, there's a new town, like about, and I specify how far it is.
I think at this point, this old man has given up on winter as someone to talk to. Because they've beyond confused him.
Well, fine then. And I want to go see the jellyfish moss thing.
So it's again because Ryan is still having a Queen of Ice type moment. Queen of Frost, I should say. Yes.
Sorry. Before we leave, Ryan still has a voice inside his head. So he actually goes, right before he leaves, he goes to the old man and he says, for God's sakes, man, treat your bunker better. Or put it up for sale. What's wrong with you?
Confusion intensifies. He doesn't reply because at this moment he's more weirded out by you lot than he is by, the gigantic moss creature.
Clean it up. Maintain it, man. Jesus.
He's right. A bunker is a privilege. You really should try harder.
I've been confined to the living quarters for the last 4 years.
And why is that? Your own fault. All right. Goodbye.
Times are changing.
your way to the research area, I suppose.
Yes.
All right, moss is crumbling all around you as you do. I'll say that it doesn't take you long to find the room. There's a gigantic jar the size of a medium aquarium containing a jellyfish.
I want to talk to the jellyfish. Oh,
You don't even need to ask for that because as soon as you all enter the room, you hear a voice in your mind. Get out. Haven't you done enough? You've taken
do you
all
mean?
my children.
Glenn
You've
proceeds
cut off
to
my arms, to put it in human terms.
Glenn proceeds with quick drying option of shotgun to the aquarium wall.
Are you okay?
Are
You,
I might want to like try and prevent this if there's any way I can.
yeah, I'm gonna say there's gonna be a few things that go into this course of action. So I'll say the rest of you do see Glenn reaching for the shotgun. You have a chance to react.
I say, whoa, Nelly. This is a very confined area. That might be very bad. Also, we don't know if the glass is bulletproof.
And we do have the juice.
Do you raise the shotgun, Glenn?
Glenn is worried about psychic control, but he stops to take a look on at the faces of party. Do they look mind affected? Do I feel mind affected? Or is it
Not
just
yet.
talking?
I mean, so far, it's just talked.
Okay, so I keep my shotgun ready. Quick
Okay.
drying is always on the table.
All right. What do you all do?
I guess I want to like put down like, okay, is there anything like you want to do or say before we pull the plug on you?
The moment
You got any last words?
do that, you feel a weird sense of pressure. And all of you are pushed back against the wall as your head begins to really hurt. All of you take 1 point of psychic harm. You did just walk up to it and say, I'm going to kill you, roughly.
Yeah, that I think. Well,
Yeah.
if I'm again beyond the marker,
So you're at 4 harm again. Out of how many?
Out of 7.
Oh, looking at the wrong sheet. There you are. Okay, it's gotten to the point where it's going to be harder to act, and if you do not seek medical treatment, it's going to keep getting worse.
Okay. But I take aim and pull the trigger.
All right, roll to kick some ass.
That's tough, right?
It should be. So I have too many handouts open at once. I am
exactly.
90% sure. Yes, that's a tough. Nice.
10.
Okay. So you do raise your shotgun and fire at what?
Wall of the tank.
Okay.
Kind of center.
You do remember, and I'll let you decide if you want to do this before the shot goes off or not. You do remember being told that it cannot be physically hurt.
Yes.
And there is a
But-
moment where you're not sure if that extends to the jar itself or not.
My bet is on. Well, actually, Glenn is just.
Yeah,
a
I'll give you that information as a
physically
player. What
oriented-
Glenn does is a different
physically
story.
oriented human. So,
Mm,
well, since drying was mentioned as a good option,
yep.
emptying the tank would
Mm.
be his idea of doing this, and this would be his idea of emptying the tank.
All right. So,
Yes,
what
I follow through.
effect do you want to have happen?
I want to force them where I want them. I don't know if the shot itself will damage the creature, but maybe losing the fluid, if the glass shatters, confuses them and stops their action they are taking against us now.
So, I'm going to say what happens is that your shot lands perfectly. However, the glass remains intact. Creature, however, just shivers, and you feel the psychic pressure drop. You're free to move around the room. That's if the shock from the impact decidedly caused them to lose focus.
Hmm.
Glenn
Sorry.
The
We're
glass appears
destroying this.
perfectly fine, and
Okay.
the shells from the shotgun, instead of just blasting this tank, which is what I think Glenn was hoping for, it ricochets and a lot of other things. Thankfully, none of you, because you rolled high enough, are hit, but there are holes in a lot of places that shouldn't have holes.
I think I look at Glenn and I say, yeah,
Yes?
that's exactly, well, that's not exactly what is the worst thing that could have happened, but it's about what I predicted.
Glenn just runs towards the tank. Toss me the vial with the stuff.
Ven tosses the vial.
All right, so who has the vial and what are they doing with it?
Plan B.
Sounds like Glenn has the vial. And the fertilizer. Or not fertilizer.
Pesticide.
Pesticide. The other side of that, you know.
Was there an order of operations here? Do we need to do things in a certain order?
No, because initiative order doesn't exist for the week.
Oh,
I mean, the
but
plan
like,
is just to.
So effectively, tell me
Find
what the
it-
plan is, and then things are going to happen in a chain reaction type way.
What did
Glenn's
the-
plan is to find opening on top and just empty the stuff into the fluid and add some pesticide.
All
the
right.
better measure.
Could you roll to act under pressure, please? That's your call.
Yes. Nine.
Oh, okay. There's a moment when you almost have it. You manage to unscrew the very complicated top, and you're about to pour both of these things in, and you feel like you're about to lose your balance. If you want to also get the pesticide in, you'll fall into the tank. So you can choose to either keep pouring, stabilize yourself.
Okay, stabilize.
Meanwhile, the creature is thrashing about inside. still reeling from the effects of the shotgun.
Stabilizing myself.
All right. What are the rest of you doing?
I think I'm gonna ask Ven and Ryan about. Wait a minute. Did the scientist say anything about like a special like procedure here, or is it just like pour the stuff in and like drain the tank?
It sounded like it was pour in the bits and drain the tank.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna go.
Pour in the bits and flush the tank afterwards to keep the jellyfish alive.
I'm gonna go towards the flusher.
All right. So, Ven and Ryan, what are the two of you doing while all this is happening?
Right, well, we've almost done it. So I guess I shall also get closer in case something goes horribly wrong. Maybe I'll get to use my combat magic at some point.
All right, so you're standing at the ready pretty much?
Yep.
Ven?
Probably just run to support Glenn.
All right, can you please roll to help? That should be a cool.
No. Not cool at all today.
Glenn, I'm sorry. What happens is you think you catch yourself, except that a very well-intentioned Ven reaches up to try to stabilize you. Sadly, they push a bit too hard. And both you and the vials that you're holding do fall into the tank.
I focus on keeping my. I focus on not breathing in.
Solid strategy. As these two chemical formulas enter the water at the same time, the jellyfish that's in front of you, gigantic, as tall as you are, goes limp. And you can see that it's almost like, have you ever watched a sponge being blended and then put itself back together? That's pretty much what's happening here. It's dissolving and then solidifying into two separate entities. One of them a big jellyfish, the other a bundle of crushed up mushy moss at this point.
I flush the tank.
All right. Glenn, can you roll me one more to act under pressure, please?
I just remembered I'm in undamaged hazmat suit.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not the pesticide.
I will refrain from helping this time. That doesn't go well.
I do need to roll me one more act under pressure.
Okay. Cool. 7.
Okay. So, as this tank is being flushed, your hazmat suit is starting to rip because these currents are extremely strong. You reckon that you might be fine holding your breath for now, but you want to try to make your way out of this tank as soon as possible.
Yes, I want.
Or this drowning is suddenly becoming a risk.
I try to grab the edge of the opening. I fall through.
All right. One more act under pressure, please. I also love the fact that no one else is moving to help the person being thrown about in a jellyfish tank.
5. And
Every time I help,
I'm
things
trying
get
to snatch
worse.
him. I'm
Glenn
trying
utters a word He never expected
Hey,
to utter
I'm gonna try to.
help.
I'm gonna try to snatch him. I'm trying to grab him.
yeah, I'll say for the purposes of the story, it's not that hard to fish Glenn out of it eventually. It takes a while, and Glenn, you do suffer 1 point of harm, both from being thrashed about and like getting some of this water into you. Thankfully, you were able to avoid doing so while there was active pesticide, and Heather knows what was in that other formula. So it's just 1 point of harm as they fish you out eventually.
This is the laboratory area, yeah, the research.
Yeah.
Is there a first aid station anywhere nearby?
There may very well be. It's not in this particular part, but you do see a sign with a white plus sign on it, and it appears to be a slightly separate booth. Or, this sort of, not, almost like a janitor's closet. Like, go get it in here if you need it.
Yeah. I'll go fetch that.
Fantastic. And I'll say between the four of you, you are able to stabilize Glenn to the point where he shouldn't keep ticking down. So you reckon that Glenn is stable. He will need to get medical attention, like without a doubt, after everything that he's been through. And inside this tank is just a giant floating normal immortal jellyfish. No moss spores to be seen. Also, thank you so much for that raid, and welcome to the stream. It's very appreciated.
Job done.
Glenn just slumps down on the wall of the aquarium, sitting with his back to the aquarium. Now some of this healing would be nice.
I think I want to go, like, put my face near the glass and put my hand on it and see if I can talk to the jellyfish. Or communicate with it in some way.
So the thing is, it's suddenly no longer psychic, because that ability came from the moss itself. This is a regular old jellyfish. You
Psychic.
might be able to use magic to communicate with something you don't share a language with. So
Okay.
if you want to, roll me your weird, please. That's a promising spell.
Experience.
That's a 4. Sorry, the jellyfish like mildly shivers in your general direction.
I'm gonna make like
thankfully
a face and just stare at it, because jellyfish are really relaxing to watch.
It is a very relaxing thing to behold. Slightly out of place in a tank in New Hampshire, but it's decidedly peaceful.
So can somebody fish that moss out of this tank and just burn it?
It's already been flushed out.
Oh, where did it go?
Into the water system for the bunker. It may or may not be isolated. You haven't checked.
If it's a bunker, it's probably got its own purification system. Can I?
Oh, go
ahead. There's an infirmary back at the gas station. We should probably get Glenn there pretty quick.
You reckon that the infirmary will be enough to suffice? So you might be able to keep Glenn out of hospital. Is there anything else you're doing before you leave this Cold War bunker with... Thanks, neighborhood. With its massive tank and its beautiful jellyfish.
Jellyfish is okay, but we need to make sure the moss gets burned down, so so it gets in, so nobody gets their hands on it ever again, especially somebody irresponsible like the government.
I think I want to go talk to the scientist again.
I was gonna this place for supplies, but yeah, I could probably set it to blow before we.
I
Yeah,
wanna.
you don't need to blow the entire bunker, especially now after Ryan has talked with it and built some relations.
I want to
You just
use
need
magic really
Burn
quick.
this moss down.
Okay, so to sort of see what everyone is doing, Winter is heading off to talk to the scientist. Ven is trying to like check for supplies and determine whether or not they should blow this whole place up. Glenn is
Sitting,
caring for this bunker, at
sitting
least in the
on his
psychological
butt.
terms. And Ryan, you want to use magic for what purpose, I ask?
I want to use it to observe another place or time. I want to try to observe the room that we put the teens in. Check up on them.
All right, while I get my hair in order, could you please roll your weird for me?
Sure. Weird. Hey, there we are.
Ooh, we're
Moss
back to
is
form, I
dead,
see.
magic is off.
Yeah, it's like thread is gone, back to failing at magic.
Hey.
You do get to mark down a point of experience. You end up watching a completely different place. It's a different staff room. It's in fact the staff room from the library that you and Ven had visited all those months ago. And you reckon your mind may be slightly hung up on that old adventure.
Oh wow, I'm really off the mark today. Okay. Oof.
No one's in there at the moment, by the way. It's just a staff room. Looks the same as you remember it.
I wonder how the
They
old
ever fix that
library
door?
is. No, they did not fix that door. It's been years. It's been years.
It sort of leaned against the wall and is sort of, we can close this, but why should we?
Is it weird how proud I am of that?
Yes, it is fully weird. It's very weird.
All right. I'll say that then you do find some interesting stuff. We can go over exactly what it is and what you can do with it once things are settling down a bit. Winter.
So I go up to the scientist and I say, we did the thing.
He
We separated the jellyfish from the moss.
she's still okay?
Yeah, jellyfish seems fine.
This moment of utter bliss and happiness, and it's just spreading across his face as this old man who's probably in his 90s rushes past you and into the research area, stares at the tank and bursts into tears, wrapping his arms around the tank.
I follow him. I follow him. I say, so what happened to that moss that we flushed?
It takes him a while to compose himself. He's realizing that at least part of the creature he spent the last few decades with is still intact, even though they can't have the same communication as before. And he tells you that if the tank has been flushed, it should absolutely have been dealt with. The water purification system is designed to handle this exact scenario. It's the built-in safeguard that they did have.
Okay, so Glenn, the moss is all set.
Okay. Okay.
So can we trust you, Mr. Scientist? What is your name anyway? I put out my hand and I say Winter.
He reaches out a hand, shaking with emotion and age. He goes, "It's Alfred."
Alfred.
Yes.
So Alfred, can we trust that you're not gonna like you're gonna kind of just hang out with this jellyfish and not try to resurrect its mind control powers?
I didn't like being in a room for 4 years.
Hmm.
I'd rather not risk her.
Alfred,
Yes.
you're a clever fellow. You ever work in a shop? Like
I work
a
in a bunker.
Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this. Hire those 14s, for God's sake. If anyone.
well, they're probably fine now. I mean,
Well, we'll find out when we check on them, of course.
Hey,
I
I've
suppose
worked
that's
in
a
a bunker.
priority. How about you come
About
with me?
that checking on.
I might have a job for you.
Can somebody
Glenn?
check on me?
No.
Oh shit, Glenn. Hey, yeah, let's just go back to the gas station. We can swing by the hardware store real quick on the way by, make sure the kids aren't dead, and talk to Alfred about new career prospects later in life.
Right. Well, I'm
Hey.
going to.
We do have a phone. And a radio.
Oh. Too bad I don't have the phone number for the hardware store.
I mean, you can of course use it. I mean, what if you want to talk to me later? I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's your
Pax is in
phone
my time.
number?
So then is that the regular business card that you
Yeah.
hand out to people who know what your actual line of work is?
Yeah. Question solved. Problems answered.
Numbers exchanged.
Perfect.
Right. Well, I'm going to go check on those teens that were
Mhm.
probably traumatized by this entire experience and give them a little counseling.
I wonder
will...
if Jenna remembers our
I knew
conversation.
it.
Winter, she might, but you did choose to ask her out while spraying water around, and that's what caused the moss to regrow.
Right.
You're not sure if she actually heard you.
Yeah, I think we were kind of talking a little bit before the water thing happened. Because there was kind of like a lapse in time. So I don't know if I was probably trying to ask her out when the water happened. I just want to know if she remembers me.
You can sure ask her.
Over. I don't mind starting over as far as asking out. Like we've established that she's not like a teenager. Like she's not that much.
No, she's in her early 20s. You reckon she might be 20, 22, around there.
Because I don't want to be creepy, but
yeah, no.
I don't want to be more creepy than the average awkward.
Yeah, no. If you'd accidentally hit on someone that young, I would have told you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there's decidedly no age problem there. Depending on whether Winter actually, is an eldritch horror in a humanoid shape, but assuming your appearance reflects your age somewhat, you should be fine.
As far as Winter knows, Winter is a human.
All right, in that case.
But Winter might be an eldritch horror. I don't know. If I was an eldritch horror, would I know I'm an eldritch horror? I don't know.
It's a very good question. Maybe that's a mystery to investigate another day.
It's totally.
I bet the owl knows.
Well,
so
we do have an infirmary now. We could check you out. Do some exploratory surgery. See if you're
I'm good. I'm not a big fan of surgery.
So, do you all hang around the bunker for a while longer, or?
Oh no, I
No.
definitely want to
I
check in
think
with
you.
you.
I think the three of you need to get to town, back to town for three separate reasons. Ryan wanted to check on the kids. Winter wanted to check on one particular kid, and
Like-
then just go for the van to bring you closer because that's far too far for me to go now.
Uh,
All right.
Does
well,
it sound like a plan?
But you have to go. We have to go back. Yeah, we have to go back to the van so you can get home.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah.
But you need to
Yeah.
bring van closer to the entrance to the bunker because I'm not going back the entire way.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, I'll go handle the van.
All right. Long story short, the kids are fine. They're a tad confused how they've ended up in the staff room of a closed hardware store, given that the last thing they remember was that they went camping together.
This is truly wild. Ryan's going to do something he never thought he would do.
Yeah.
He's going to contact the Council of Wizards to get these kids some proper counseling after what they went through.
Ooh. Suck up.
Ryan, can you please roll to use your magic for this one?
Oh, yeah. Thought I could just call, but
They don't exactly have a phone number.
true. Old Wizards.
All right. So, what's the message you sent them?
Master of Magic here. Ryan Fortune. Sure you remember me. Hi, hello again. Little incidents with some truly wild moss that's brain controlled teens. They're here in Nowheresville. Insert town name.
You know what? I'll give you. It's called Nowheresville.
Nowheresville. Okay.
Yeah.
Usually I wouldn't contact you, but I am concerned about what kind of mental state they shall be in after this trying ordeal. If you could touch base with them, provide them with some proper counseling, maybe an introduction to the world of magic. I am establishing a line of communication with them myself, but of course you are the more official party, so I defer to my betters.
You hear. Sorry, was that the end of the message?
Mm-hmm.
You hear a robotic voice, devoid of personality and identifying markers, and decidedly not with an Australian accent reply. Message received.
Okay. I am done. There you go. All right, kids, take care. Remember, my number's...
Do you give him the business card that you've handed out as well to other people before?
Yeah, I give them a way to contact me.
Okay. Cool.
Being
Okay,
introduced to the supernatural world is scary. Need guide.
So there's 4 teenagers. Well, not teenagers, young adults hanging out in the staff room. They've helped themselves to some coffee, more out of a what the hell do we do now? And stealing instant coffee isn't really that high on the list of crimes. We might get away with it. But they're all giving you curious looks. They're not saying much. But they sort of nod awkwardly at Ryan. Especially given that they just heard him leave a telepathic message to a council of wizards.
I also introduce myself to break the tension.
Yeah, it's more that the whole this dude thinks he's a wizard kind of thing is lingering in the air.
Would you like proof?
We're good, man.
We do
We're
proof in
good.
this day and age. We do proof. Fuck yes. All right.
We're
Don't
good.
believe me?
It's fine. It's all fine.
You don't believe me now, huh? Okay.
Too late.
Look,
Too late.
Teleport out.
I'm there, right?
Winter, you're decidedly there.
I put my hand up and I think they get it. We
Party
don't.
them.
Do you teleport?
Yes.
Roll to use your magic, please.
This should be a great lead into the next mystery. Yes, it is. Yes!
Ryan, it should work. You've done this before. But there's this awkward moment when you make the dramatic gesture and absolutely nothing happens.
Holy shit. I've realized that I've used a lot of magic today. Where the hell's Ben?
Probably dealing with a van.
Ah, well, you get it. Bye-bye.
Try not to move. This is sort of, let's let this strange man get away before something goes wrong.
Walking up to a bunch of people who don't believe you're a wizard, doing a big dramatic gesture and being like, yeah, you get the rest of it, is...
Listen, there are tides of magic. Oh, yeah, sorry, I walked back in. Sorry, lesson about magic. There are tides of magic. Sometimes it's on your side, sometimes it's not. There are lows and highs. If you eventually use magic, you'll learn for yourself, but be careful always. And then Ryan walks out again.
Right.
I think Winter's kind of been standing there, like, for the most part, like, whenever Ryan's talking, they're just, like, have their mouth open like they're about to talk. But every time they go to, like, Ryan pops in and has something else to say. And that's fine. I think at this point, like, I kind of want to, like, check in more emotionally and be like, so first, I don't know that what you just experienced was a magical thing, but I guess you're understanding that, like, this isn't the last place you remember being, right?
Jenna, who
And,
has
like,
a vague memory of having seen you before, goes, well, no, really. I've never been here before.
Do you know where Nowheresville is?
Yeah, we went camping around here.
Okay, so we're in the staff room of a hardware store in Nowheresville. That's where we are right now. We're not too far from where you were camping, so it's everything should be fine. It's just a little MK Ultra.
Right.
Are you too young for that?
No, I get the reference. It's okay.
It's like I'm too young for that too. I'm just a weirdo who likes to research these kind of things, and, like, man, like, if you start reading, like, the classified documents about this lady who is doing acid with a dolphin, like, that stuff's wicked wild. Like, wicked wild, kid. Like, you wouldn't believe.
She's rendered speechless, not really knowing if that's where she thought the conversation was going, but she smiles at you almost in spite of herself. That sounds riveting.
Yeah, we can talk a bit more about this at another time and in another place. And do you need a... And I kind of looked at everybody like, is there anything else I can do to kind of help you here?
I think we're all good. They're just sort of yeah. They probably, you get the impression that they're waiting for you all to leave so they can leave, but it's a sort of, they don't want to show their hand and go, "This is where our van is parked, dear strange people we've just met in a room we don't remember getting into. We may have been drugged. No idea what's going on." Yeah, there's a bit of please leave, but they're less weirded out by you than by Ryan, strangely enough. You've said weird shit, but you haven't claimed to be a wizard.
I am not a wizard. And
I mean, good, I think.
I'm not entirely sure that if you ever get contacted by these wizards, that'll be helpful, because I don't think it was magic. I think it might have been government chemicals or some shit. But hey, if you... Well, here's my number, and I just give them my number, and I bolt.
Do you leave it, or do you just like recite it out loud very quickly?
I think I write it down on a piece of
Okay.
paper that I find, like a scrap piece of paper, next to the schedule. So, like, you know, workers can write down their schedule in the break room.
Right. They just sort of give you the okay type look, like they're not quite sure what to do with this information, and they just watch you head out.
Can I use telepathy to kind of like listen to what Jenna thinks of me?
You know what? Yes. Is this? I'll allow it because it's hilarious enough. Let me just check how your telepathy works. I was gonna say, can you roll to read a bad situation?
That's cruel.
That's sharp.
Yes.
It's not too bad.
It's a 7.
It's a 7.
So you do get to ask one of those questions. I'll let you modify it slightly because this is less of a really bad, life-threatening situation and more this was awkward as fuck. And this could potentially lead to all of us being exposed. Or, yeah, it's less a active threat.
Can I ask what's my best way in to a relationship of some sort?
You reckon that?
I think initially, like, what the question I would have wanted to ask would be like, what is the what's the likelihood that this is gonna go anywhere? But I like the comedic effect of what's the best way in.
Yeah. You've certainly made an impression. You reckon that it's probably a bad idea to walk back into the room or to try to talk to her psychically. You reckon that it might be more she might save that number, she might not, but best option is probably to leave her alone for now to process a lot of things.
Will do.
All right.
I also pat myself on the back as that might have been what I would have done other like it that just confirmed that that was the best course of action.
Yeah. No, she might need a little bit of space after this weird encounter. So well, then you do manage to get the van back between Van and Glenn. This is a fun series of words to handle. Then you do manage to get the van back to close where the bunker is so that Glenn can make his way out. And yeah, is there anything you want to do before you bring the van over? Like while you're in town? You'll have to come back to pick up the others unless you wait for them to hop into.
No, Glenn's very badly injured. We should do the responsible thing. Go pick up Glenn. Gotta save the
Okay.
party.
So, we'll fast forward a little. You're back home. Glenn, you've had your wounds tended to. I have a feeling Winter might be keeping an eye on their phone. Then you're decidedly going through all of the sort of knickknacks you picked up from the lab. Ryan. When you come home, proper home, not just to the gas station. The door's open.
Boy, a robber? This is really, really too much after this day.
What do you do?
I'm gonna quote unquote charge up a little bit of magic as I walk in.
As soon as you cross the threshold, your magic is gone. You can't feel it. And in front of you, in the middle of the room, stands a tall, slender woman, an extremely well-tailored but discreet suit, sort of crown of dark curls on her head, deep brown eyes, dark skin. She looks at you. Well, Mr. Fortune, it appears you've been going out of your way to get my attention. And in her hand, you see the owl that's been haunting all of you for the longest time, especially your friend Winter, turn into a tortoise. It rests more comfortably in her hand.
Right.
Percy's been keeping an eye on you.
Lovely, lovely. What is it you wish?
You've been causing a lot of mess lately. We can't have that.
I've also been solving a lot of messes lately.
I think that's a debate for another day. My point is, Mr. Fortune, you are stepping out of line, and we can't have that.
Stepping out of line, eh? Your line?
How do you like being a licensed magic user? It would be a shame to have that taken away. We've been willing to overlook some of your indiscretions in the past, your failure to produce adequate reports, your failure to accept missions. However, you're becoming a bit of a nuisance. I have a job for you.
Call me a nuisance, and now you want me to take a job from you.
It's less of an offer. Let's just put it that way. The council giveth and the council taketh away.
Oh, I would love to see when you start giving.
We've given you plenty. Do you accept or do you go rogue? You know the consequences.
I called earlier.
Yes, we know.
I'll tell you what. You take care of that, what I asked, and I'll take care of what you ask.
We've already dealt with that.
Very good.
Mr. Fortune, I'm not some minion or message girl. I don't tend to make visits in person. Consider this a courtesy. Don't insult me. Do you accept?
Yes, I accept.
She reaches out her hand, waiting for you to shake it.
Ryan shakes the hand.
As soon as you touch her hand, you and all of your friends find yourselves surrounded by smoke the shade of emerald. And that's the last thing you remember for quite a while. And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode. So, before we do go on a raid, I would love to hear from all of you. What was your favorite part? Where can we find you next? And is there anything else you'd like to share with us? I also love that our script for this is proceed in a logical order, by the way. But let's start with Ekinorlax.
So my favorite moment definitely was. I mean, this entire game was a roller coaster of great moments, but the highest point of this ride was I want to talk with Bunker.
Yeah, that's pretty high up there. So where can we find you next?
Tomorrow, same place, same time, playing Stars Without Numbers and Void Cavalcade.
Excellent.
See you tomorrow.
Fantastic. Kat, what about yourself?
Hi, I'm a cat named Schrodinger, or Cat and Schrodinger. I play Winter. My favorite part is talking to the Bunker was hilarious. But I don't think I had like a huge sass moment this week, which is kind of weird. But like I kind of liked being awkward in front of like I think that was just kind of very on brand without realizing that I was being on brand for my character. That was a very organic move of character development.
Excellent. And where can we find you next?
I will be back here on Monday evening for Empires and Epitaphs.
Fantastic. Eshi, what about you?
My favorite part has got to be just the slowly growing menagerie around the party. Like all of the magical animal friends are a delight. You can find me here.
Yes. Any particular time? Day, perhaps?
Occasionally, it's intermittent. Monday, same time, same channel, for Fleshmaker's Folly.
Awesome.
Heading off to a new village, theoretically.
Wonderful. Pa, what about you?
Oh boy, favorite moment? I think I got one for each character. Um, for sure has to be Ven turning into Snow White with the squirrel.
Mm.
For Glenn, has to be him falling in the tank because Ven pushed him in. And for oh my god, Winter has to be the moment with Winter and Jenna right at the end. You can find me next same place as Eshi, Fleshmaker's Folly, same time. Don't got anything else?
All right. Well, I'm polished. I was going to automatically resort to my my own outro, but that doesn't quite work because we're not on my channel. My favorite moment, I think it was just like feeling this party finally like really merged together and the banter just sort of fully taking off, because that was an absolute treat as a keeper. But yeah, special mention to like Deus Ex Machina Squirrel. So thank you, chat, so much for that one. You can find me next on here actually in less than 24 hours by now, playing the Void Cavalcade along with Econorlax. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone for watching. Thank you to our wonderful cast. To everyone who's donated and supported the stream in other ways, especially for that wonderful raid before. And also, once again, thank you so much to our sponsors, Fundamental RPG and the Grinding Coffee Company. Remember that you can get a really solid % off if you head over to grindingcoffee.co and use the code RAVEN, that's RAVVYN, and you check out. So yeah, I'll hand it over to Raven to take us on a raid.
Thanks so much. That was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. We're going to go on a quick raid over to Attack Trick. We've got our raid cry in chat, which of course is I Taunt the Moss, which was hilarious. If you're not already following Attack Trick, definitely give him a follow. He is in our Tuesday night game, Water. Fantastic person and streamer. So definitely give him a follow. Thank you for that follow here to LARPstrong_Carton. Appreciate that. And yeah, no stream tonight. We will not have our Friday night community one-shot this evening, but we will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the Void Cavalcade. So we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.